Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on January the 17th, 2017. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me, as always, he was left behind today.
Caffeine Rage. Fucking route services.
On today's show, we will of course be discussing the games that we played this week. Scalebound was unexpectedly canceled. The Nintendo Switch conference happened, and we're going to discuss all the things. We've got a list of games that we're looking forward to in 2017. We'll have our weekly community corner and our Steam weekly deals discussion. How are you today, Rage?
I'm pretty good, and I'm also remembering that timestamps will be in the show notes and also the YouTube descriptions down below.
Look at you. Look at me. Look at everybody.
I'm on a horse.
Look at me, now back at your man. Now back to me, now back at your man. I'm on a horse.
Have you ever seen the behind the scenes of those?
Yeah, I have.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that it's so much practical effects. I mean, sure, there is a lot of CG in them as well, but the fact that it's a practical effect of a continuous shot is just amazing to me.
Yeah. It makes me proud to be a user of Old Spice. Yeah, Old Spice. Smells great, doesn't make me itch. How are you, Rach? How was your week? How are you doing?
All right. Little annoyed with medical transport services, but that's not a podcast topic.
Yeah, but that is where my little thing for you this week came from.
Yeah, I was not pleased this morning.
No, I received that text from you, and I could feel the anger in the text message.
Yeah, it's the fact that they didn't tell me that they canceled, so I couldn't try to set up anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Slightly pissed off.
Well, you've had a nap, although we do love your angry pants here, just usually when you put them on for games. I don't know how everybody feels about your angry pants for real-world events.
Oh, don't worry. Well, it shouldn't be the angry pants. It's more the what the fuck are you doing pants coming up.
The grumpy pants.
Yeah,
oh, also, this week's podcast is brought to you by the I'm Feeling Lucky button in Google Play Music, or Google Play Radio. It did a good job this week. A lot of classic rock, some more modern rock, grunge, all stuff that I'm into. So, good job, Google Play.
Yeah, and just earlier I was listening to the soundtrack to Up.
Oh, nice. I love that movie. Right, it makes me sad.
If you don't feel anything in the first 10 minutes of that movie, you are a fucking robot.
You know, I haven't watched that movie since becoming a therapist. I should watch it again.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes, the opening montage.
Yeah,
it's just heartbreaking. Rewatching it, I actually skip it now because, damn.
I'm gonna take it all in. I'm gonna try and heal his pain.
Oh, unfortunately, you're not a snipe hunt, so you can't do that. You need to have someone hiding under the porch to do that. Maybe we could send him Groove.
Maybe. In a box.
With a pizza on top.
And some therapy books inside.
Give him something to read while he's swimming in all the jambalaya and kept warm by the 15 pounds of uranium.
So I have story time for this week, which you already know the story, but everyone else needs to know the story. Yeah, but I don't know
the details, so this is going to be fun.
Well, I mean, my hard drive crashed. Died.
Yeah, that's never a good thing.
Yeah, so let's see, when was it? Friday was actually when I first started noticing problems, Friday night. But it was still working well enough, and so I was like, well, you know, something's probably going on. I'll check all this later. We got a stream. And it held up really well through Rocket League. And then after we finished Rocket League, I went to play Valkyria Chronicles. I mean, I took a break, and then I went to play Valkyria Chronicles. And the game it would launch, but it was crashing a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I got really mad because I thought the Steam Link was broken again.
Which you have that rant coming up as well, don't you?
Yeah, I still hate big picture mode. But I'll expound on that a little bit more when I get there in games stuff. But so yeah, it started throwing up all kinds of problems with Valkyria Chronicles. Saturday rolls around. I can't remember. Oh, it was during King's nap time during the day. I was like, well, I want to play Valkyria Chronicles while he's asleep for a couple hours, and so I went to load it up, and Valkyria Chronicles just would not launch. Well, that's not true. It launched one time. It got to the start menu, and then it crashed, and then it never would launch again. So I, again, was mad at the Steam Link, but I actually got so mad I just turned my computer off. And I was like, I will deal with this later. And I don't remember exactly what point it was later on in the afternoon that I turned my computer back on, but then I noticed, like, I can hear my hard drive spinning. Like, I've never heard it before.
Yeah, that's and I was like, usually not a good sign unless your computer's from, like, the 80s.
No, I was like, I'm 99% sure that's my hard drive. So I opened up Task Manager, and it's at 100% usage. And I was like, well, that's also not a good sign, because after my rebuild, there's nothing that pulls from my hard disk on startup. Aha. So let's investigate. And so I ran a couple of scans on it, and it kicked back about 1,000,001 errors, but I still had access to the drive. And I originally was just going to be like, nah, fuck it, I don't have anything in there that I need. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, actually, I do have some stuff on there that I need. I should save it before the drive dies. I mean, I had like some older versions and backups that I could go get just since I just rebuilt my system. But I was like, if I can just save this, that'll save me the work that I was doing anyways. Like, some of it was clinical stuff, and some of it was some stuff that I'd set up for VGL, and then some of it was some recent videos that I had gotten ready for things. And I was like, I'd rather save these if I can and not have to redo all the work.
Yeah, you know you're in trouble whenever the hard drive health check comes back. Shit's fucked up, yo.
I got several yellow lights and one red light. Those are all bad. But yeah, the smart scan kicked back a bunch of errors. So I got all the stuff off, and I went through the process of getting my RMA set up with Western Digital. And then I discovered something that is interesting but kind of irrelevant to the story. So I bought this hard drive a little over 2 years ago when I built this machine. And on Amazon, I bought a Western Digital Black drive, which is their top of the line platter drives that have all of the bells and whistles and
well, no wonder you could hear it drive spinning up if it has bells and whistles on it.
But anyway, so it had all of their fancy buzzword technology, and it was only a few bucks more because I got it on a sale, a Black Friday sale or something like that. It was only a few bucks more than the blue drive, which is just their standard drive. It's yeah, I'll buy it. Why not? A few extra bucks. Well, when I pulled the drive out of my computer, it was actually a Western Digital purple drive. So they sent me the wrong hard drive 2 years ago, and I didn't catch it because I just wasn't paying attention or something.
Or do you think maybe they were out of stock with the black and went to purple because that may have been the next one up?
Actually, the purple's the next one down.
Oh, it's the next one down? Well, yeah. I haven't looked at them for a while, so...
Yeah, the Western Digital Rainbow, just a quick rundown. Blue is their standard average drive. Green is storage, and the drive runs on low power. So green offers the highest storage capacity, and it's the lowest power consumption.
Yeah.
Red is designed to be used for RAID arrays and things that are constantly running, if you've got a server or something like that. And they only run at 5,400 RPM. And then purple is almost as good as black. It's missing a few of black's platter stabilization whatevers. But it does have some built-in software or firmware or something into the drive that optimizes it for working with streaming media, so streaming audio and video. They're designed to be used for high-end recorders, or people who do what we do as a hobby, but that's their job.
Yeah.
And then also for security firms to just constantly record security footage. And then the black is the best. But, I mean, purple and black have the same warranty and everything, and like I said, purple's only missing a few of black's features, so I mean, it's not like I got like completely gypped, but I just like had a good laugh. Like, well,
fucking figures.
Yeah. So that's my hard drive story for this week. I'm currently waiting. Part of Western Digital's RMA policy is you must return it in a static bag or a static proof bag. Otherwise, you forfeit your warranty. So I'm having to wait on static bags to get here from Amazon because apparently no store sells bags. Like, I can buy a 30-foot roll of anti-static bubble wrap, but I can't buy a single static plastic bag. So they should be here tomorrow, I
That's
think.
when I would just steal the static proof bag that I stored my video card in.
Well, I would have done that, but I used all of that stuff, or I got rid of all that stuff after I built 2 PCs, and they were confirmed to be working, because, I mean, I didn't know that was Western Digital's return policy, and I didn't expect the drive to fail.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really expects the hard drive to fail, especially after that short time. It's just, I'm paranoid when it comes to parts, so whatever I upgrade, I hold on to the parts as long as I deem it necessary. Matter of fact, if need be, I could actually bring my old computer back online that was before this one. It's actually still downstairs. Not sure if it works, but it's all in one piece.
I hold on to parts, but I don't hold on to boxes and stuff. I used to.
Well, the thing is
but then we had a kid, and like space became a premium. It's like, well, let's just throw all this crap away.
Yeah, true. It's more just, I never got around to pulling the computer apart.
Yeah.
So it's just, it seems better just to leave it all in one piece at this point.
Yeah, well, mine's in pieces. My old machine and machines that I've borrowed parts from to cobble together stuff.
Yeah, and
I've got boxes of parts.
And I have my 7800 series in the closet, along with a very old hard drive that I doubt will even, it'll probably spin up, but it's such a small capacity that it doesn't really matter. It's under a terabyte.
Yeah.
And my old CPU for this computer, trying to think of what, it's not an FX chip. I'm trying to think of the series it is, but it doesn't really matter. It still will work on this computer, so if need be, I could swap out the processor and the video card.
You talking about small hard drive capacity. I remember the first PC I built, I was in like middle school or something, and I put an 80 gigabyte hard drive in it, and I was like, this is so huge, I can put all of my games on it. And I mean, I only had like 7 or 8 games, but before, the only computer we had was just like a family computer that I don't even remember what it was. It was like, just a random computer store, like, just one of those random brands that used to exist as knockoffs.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Yeah, and nowadays terrible. There's save files that's larger than that.
Yeah. Oh, how times have changed. But in a good way.
Yeah, and this would have been the perfect segue to start bashing on the Switch, but that'll be later.
Nope. I do have one more story, though. This just happened. Or I guess update? Whatever. So, podcasting things, RSS feeds. I got an email back from Apple, and they were like, yeah, we don't do that anymore.
For fuck's sake.
No. When it comes to updating your RSS feed, they're like, we don't do that anymore. We've got a site, or we've got a portal now that we're just now launching. You can go do that yourself. So I went tonight, just before we started. And
I'll mute.
Okay. Anyways, I went tonight, just before we started, and updated the RSS on iTunes to the Podbean one, and it says it'll take 24 hours for it to cycle through. But that should update the RSS feed. And if I understand correctly, it shouldn't drop any of our subscribers. Although if you do subscribe to us through iTunes, you should check. Although I guess they can't hear it if they subscribe to us on iTunes. Regardless, we put the thing in the old RSS feed, so they should be going to look for Podbean anyways. Hopefully our subs go and look for us.
Yeah, well, I put out the announcement yesterday. Yeah. So I did mention iTunes and Google Play specifically, and what's going on there. Granted, I didn't know this latest development.
Well, Google Play also. So I really didn't want to have to take down the podcast and re-upload it. It wasn't a big hassle, but it's like I'd rather just change it over if I can. And so I went searching on the podcast subreddit and I asked about it, and they're like, actually, you can do it, but it's buried like underneath 8 layers of garbage. So I went and also made the request to change the RSS feed on Google Play today.
Maybe I should update that announcement then.
Well, maybe. We'll see what happens, because it's a requester thing like what iTunes used to have.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long it takes them to get back to me. But I did make the request. So
yeah, now I wish I would have waited 24 hours on recording that.
Well, I mean, I didn't know. You didn't know.
Yeah.
Is that another train, or is that...
No, that's the train off in the distance that went past me going away from me. So that's the train on the far end of the town.
Okay.
That's why I wasn't able to warn you before, was that, I didn't get the early warning this time.
Right. That's okay. Those are all my stories for this week. So unless you have anything to add, we can move on to the games that we played.
Nothing outside of just some editing requirements for you.
All right. Well, let's move on to the games that we played this week, Rach. What did you play?
Well, I had 2 this week. The first one is my Sunday Sampler game, Super Dungeon Bros, a rock-themed ARPG. And looking at it, you would think that it's completely different because, damn, this is a bland game. It has the... okay, going into it, I expected something like Brutal Legend. I think that's, a reasonable assumption. Right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's got an interesting aesthetic in the...
The playable characters are named Iggy, Ozzy, Freddy, and
Axel.
Axel. I was blanking on the 4th one for a moment. So you would expect, a lot of rock themed, a lot of fun. But here's the thing: is that you have the opening cinematic for the campaign mode, and then the narrator says one line, and that's it. If you didn't have that section and just went directly into the gameplay, you could not tell that this was a rock-themed ARPG. There's no enemies that, what you would think of that... going back to the Brutal Legend idea, you had the headbangers going around, for example. You had a lot of speakers and stuff like that. None of that. This is a really, really, really generic ARPG that they slapped a rock theme on for the opening sequence, and that's about it.
Yeah, this looks like a worse version of Magicka.
I would say it's... Well, have you ever played Spiral Knights?
No.
Okay, it's a free-to-play ARPG, actually a lot like this. And it has an energy system which kind of screws with you actually progressing in the game because... well, I won't get into Spiral Knights just today because I have things to say about that game. And I'm too busy bashing on this one. The only drops in this game are gold, which you use in the shop, and the shop always has the same 3 things in it. A health regen, or a full health, extra life, and refill your ultimate. Well, I should say a charge on your ultimate, not a complete refill. And beer to heal you. That is it. There's no real interesting things that drop. The enemies just kind of swarm you. And as a matter of fact, the AI I found several times would get stuck trying to path to me. It feels very underbaked in that they just threw it out there. And this game is a couple months old now. And the community is non-existent.
Yeah, according to this, there's no people playing right now.
Not that
and there
I could blame them.
Only 2 at today's peak.
Not that I could actually blame them. It's I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this without, saying just go watch my video and watch me rant on it for half an hour. But the only really interesting bits of this game are the boss fights. And they talk about procedural generation, but it's like, they're using the chunk-based procedural generation like Binding of Isaac kind of introduced to the genre, where instead of having the entire map procedurally generated, you have handcrafted chunks of map that the game randomly picks out and pieces together like a puzzle, and there's your run.
Okay.
The map pieces, the pool is either very small or I got very unlucky because I started noticing a lot of repeats, even in the same level. A lot of repeats of the same chunks. And all the bosses are not randomly picked like Binding of Isaac would have. And I know it's probably unfair to be comparing it to Binding of Isaac because Binding of Isaac is a bit different in how it's built, so it's a lot easier to generate content for it, but that's getting on to something completely different. You always fight the same mini bosses and the same boss. So it gets very, very bland very quickly, and they require you to grind to unlock the extra weapons. So I didn't get a successful run. I got through 2 mini bosses, and I got to the final boss of the first chapter. And I did a little bit of math on that, and okay, that took me about 45 minutes to get through, to get to the final boss, and I got killed at the final boss. I would have had to do that 4 or 5 times to unlock a weapon. And there were, I think, 15 weapons that were locked. Yeah. And it's one of those games that there's just not enough in the procedural generation to make it feel fresh every time. And on top of it being rather bland to begin with, in that there's no drops, so it just feels like you're killing for the sake of killing instead of trying to get something, which sounds a little weird when you're talking about an ARPG or an ARPG hack and slash. It just felt off, you know? It felt like an alpha version of a finished game. That's the best way I could describe it.
I was about to say what it sounds like.
It felt like the alpha version that this is the test bed that for all the features that they would add to it later, but never did.
Yeah, I was gonna say what I felt like you're describing to me is a good concept for a game, a serviceable demo or a serviceable alpha to show off that they just sold.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, the narration is hardly there. There's one line, and I actually got the line starting to repeat after... Well, I did 4 runs in my pre-video test phase, and then I did 1 run in my main phase. Either I got unlucky there, or there's not a lot of lines. And it's not even a rock themed line for the narrator. The narrator says, "And this is how I met your mother." When the dungeon starts, it's like, okay, that's kind of funny, but how's that fit the theme?
Well, it's like that's an interesting first line. Now, where's more? Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of a shame because the game doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's not amazing, but, it's not bad. Trust me, I've played a lot worse looking games.
Yeah, I played a worse looking game this week when we get there.
But it's not there,
Yeah.
And I can't say it's a terrible game either because it's a good, solid base for a good game. It just, there's not enough.
Yeah.
And they also want $20 for it.
Yeah, that's not a $20 game. That looks like it should be free.
I would say $5 at max.
What was the Heroes, whatever, the free-to-play game that went away last year? Heroes something?
I'm blanking on it. I think I know what you're talking about.
It feels like that.
It's just it was disappointing because I was looking at all the stuff for it and thought it would be better.
Yeah. Okay. What else did you play this week?
Well, the other one that I played is Minion Masters. This was something I've had for a while, but I never really fired up. Essentially, a PC version of Crash Royale.
Okay.
With some differences. For one,
you have my attention.
Now I have your attention. Well, for one, there's none of the leveling bullshit that's in Crash Royale. So, you're not going to have two knights fight and have one always beat the other one because one knight is a level 5 knight compared to your level 1. And also, you have different heroes or champions or whatever you want to call it. That's your player character that has different abilities. And as you hold the bridges, which is essentially your towers in this, the bridges could go back and forth depending on who's on the offense. You gain experience, and you could unlock perks. Which for some heroes, each hero is different. The one that I've been playing a lot, if I get the first tier perk, which... you get a bonus experience, I should say. You're not completely cutting off your enemy from experience if you're on the offense. Your first tier perk on the hero that I play, his auto attack will hit anything on the map. On any range. Without it, your hero could only attack on your half of the map.
Okay.
And then the second tier, ranged units get a bigger range, and then third tier, I'm blanking on it because I rarely get that far. To get the third tier, you pretty much have to hold the bridges on the full time. And these are very short matches, by the way. And it's the Crash Royale style where you get random minions based on the cards you unlock. But there's no leveling the card. So once you have the card, you have the card. So
right.
They are almost Hearthstone-ish in that sense. Only it's one card per. I've only played a bit. I'm still in the getting my ass handed to me phase because I don't have enough cards. So, I play against someone, they have this really amazing finisher, and I just can't compete with it. But that's pretty much the basis for all CCGs these days, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
I'll be honest, I haven't played Crash Royale itself. I've watched some of it, but I haven't played it myself. Other differences, well, there's cosmetic differences, of course. You may be able to look at the screenshots and see that the field has different halves to it that are cosmetically different. And you unlock those or buy them.
Is this a free game?
It's going to be free.
Okay.
And you can sign up to their newsletter and get a free copy.
I would like to do that.
Yeah.
I'd like to check this out and compare it to Clash Royale.
Well, when I got my copy, I got it in one of their giveaways. I got 2 copies, but Death Saber beat you to it because he saw me idling off the cards.
Yeah.
Which this also has cards on it as well, so... But it's an interesting idea because there really isn't a Crash Royale type game on PC.
Yeah.
And they're changing things enough that I don't think you could call it a ripoff. I mean, just the fact that you have different heroes. For example, the one that they're not showing his abilities on here, but you could see a couple of the different heroes on the Steam page. Actually, I think those are the minions, but not the heroes. Yeah, they're showing the minions, not the heroes. The heroes changing out is probably the most interesting part to me because you could set it up so that your hero abilities really complement your deck. And there is, I think, 6 or 7 different decks that you could build as you level up. Like I said, I've only just started playing this, and I've only gotten a handful of matches online, and I'm still getting my ass handed to me.
Yeah. I just went and signed up so that I could get a key for the game. It says it may take 24 hours to receive a key, so.
Okay, yes, did the sign up, so we'll have to try it out sometime together.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have it another day or two, and then we can play it, and I'll be able to talk about it next week. It looks neat, and like I said, I'd really love to compare it to Clash Royale, because, I mean, you know, you remember last year I went crazy over Clash Royale for a little while until I got tired of the garbage.
The business model. Was it the leveling of characters that threw you off, or what was it? I can't remember.
It was basically hitting the wall. It's like, okay, I've now hit the point where the game either demands I pay tons of time or tons of money to continue playing it.
Well, there is
advancing.
There is the microtransactions in this, but I don't see it being as big a wall just because it seems like a lot of the wall in Clash Royale is the leveling system on the different characters, or on the different minions, I should say.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and this game just does not have that. Which is something that I really love. Oh, well, you could see one of the characters having their different abilities. And also they have a weekly rotation on the heroes. So, well, they call them masters, but heroes, champions, that gives you the idea of what's going on with it.
Yeah. And, yeah, the leveling part was frustrating too in Clash Royale. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was still some skill involved, but if you wound up in a match with somebody who had their cards, all of their cards, or, you know, even half of them were a level above yours, you might as well just throw in the towel unless they sucked.
Yeah, I don't want to call it pay to win, or I don't think there is pay to win in this. It's just starting off in these games is always rough. There's no way really around that.
Yeah.
I mean, even something like Hearthstone, which a lot of people say is one of the more balanced, or at least they did say. I'm not sure how they say it now, because I haven't really paid attention to Hearthstone in ages. Look at it whenever the new expansion comes out, but it's more just looking at the cards and thinking, there is no way I'm ever fucking playing this game again. I'm way, way, way too far behind.
Yeah.
But I'll look at the cards, but I won't pay attention too much to what people are saying. And I'll watch Total Biscuit play whenever he streams it or has one of his gimmick decks on. Because I will say that the gimmick decks are fun.
The gimmick decks are so fun.
But the thing is that Hearthstone is turned into deck central, you know, playing the meta. And
which is no fun.
Yeah, and that's what really killed Hearthstone for me, was that everybody was playing the meta. I came up, the last day I played Hearthstone, this was when Murloc Warlocks were the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
And I came up against 3 or 4 in a row. And I didn't have my deck built around countering that. It's like, you know, fuck it. I don't have I don't have the particular cards I need to build the counter deck. And I'm not in the mood to throw down $50 on a game that I'm not having fun with. Hell, when's the last time I threw down $50 on a game, period? What can I say? I'm a cheap ass.
You're a bargain shopper.
No, the proper term is patient gamer.
There you go. You're a patient gamer. Yeah, Murloc Shaman was really big when I quit, because they introduced several new Murlocs specific to the Shaman. So Murloc Shaman was all around.
Didn't one of the legendaries for Shaman give you a bunch of Murlocs?
Yeah, it would give you 4 random Murlocs when you played it.
Yeah, so throw that down with your Murlocs and a bunch more Murlocs and roll face.
Yep. I mean, the Murloc deck was just a modification of the Zoo deck, which I mean, I don't know. I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't know what the new meta is. But at the time, Zoo was not. It had been hard countered, and nobody was using it anymore. I tried some of those meta decks, but they're just not fun.
Yeah. Well,
I like
also
to make
I didn't
crazy
have,
stuff or come up with my own gimmicks. Based
also,
on...
I didn't have all the cards for him. Probably my favorite thing I would do, and I pissed off my friends so much with this. You're going to love this.
Okay.
My finishing move for pretty much all my decks, and this required 3 cards. It was turn 9. At least, hang on. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check this before I say this. What's the card that copies other cards? I can't remember.
The card that what?
The basic minion that copies other cards.
I don't know. It's a Warlock card. I know what you're talking about.
No. It's not a Warlock card.
Oh.
It's the basic... Faceless Manipulator.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it is... okay, it's... I was trying to make sure I was saying the right move. This is how I got my friend to never play me again. Turn 9, Ragnaros. And then if he doesn't kill him immediately, double Faceless Manipulator on Ragnaros.
I've had that happen a few times. That's terrible. You're a horrible person.
I was only able to pull it off a couple times.
It's a good strategy, but you're a horrible person.
I mean, even one Faceless Manipulator on Ragnaros is terrible. But I was able to do a double Faceless Manipulator on him a couple times.
Yeah.
So, that was my big finishing move. And it was something that I really liked doing. It's the thing is that Ragnaros was probably my best card to Faceless Manip, and I didn't really have anything else really great for it. And I just happened to have 2 of them. Because the Faceless Manipulator was an epic card, and epic cards are annoying to try to craft. And getting cards in Hearthstone is kind of slow unless you're putting in a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for one of the expansions, in order to get all the cards, you had to get something like, on average, be somewhere in the ballpark of 230 to 250 packs. And once you got that many, you either had the cards or you had enough dust to get the cards. That just tells you how much you had to get.
I don't think I opened that many packs in the entire time I played Hearthstone.
That was just one of the expansions. I think it was the first one, maybe the second. But all the expansions tend to be about the same size anyway, so.
Yeah.
And we got really off topic for Minion Masters.
We did. So let's bring it back. And
I will say that it's worth checking out, at least right now. And they are doing weekly updates as well. So they're still, I would say, late alpha, early beta phase.
Of Minion Master?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says on there, on their website, it says beta.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if it was alpha or beta, but since they're still patching it pretty regularly, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
And they are still balancing the game, so obviously some of the things that I encountered may just be, cards that are still slightly overpowered, but it's also cards that, I just don't have the counter for. And one thing I wish that they would do, instead of having the field like it is, have it like in Clash Royale where it's going up and down, instead of the looking at the field from the left or right.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little easier to figure out which direction things are going. But that's just a personal thing. I'm sure, playing a few rounds of it, I'll get used to it. All
right. Well, let me talk about something that you talked about last week that I was going to research and report on. The Remotr game streaming app thing. It's hot garbage.
Well, I will say I have sent them an email to ask them if there's a way to force the Remotr into a direct connection. Yeah, I haven't heard back from them, though. I just sent it earlier today.
So they do use some sort of either they've got some sort of third-party server that everything runs to, or for some reason it goes way out to the other side of the planet and then loops back around in order for you to play your games.
So I wasn't crazy in saying that it has about a 500 ping.
Yeah, I was getting anywhere from, sometimes even 2 or 3 seconds of input lag.
I didn't have that bad, but here's the crazy thing is that I always talked about living out in the sticks, but you live probably further out in the sticks than I do these days. Yeah,
but I've got pretty decent internet. I mean, I don't, when it's working. I've got roughly 70 megs down and 20 megs up. So, I could forgive a little bit of lag, even 100, 200 milliseconds worth. That'd be a little bit. You couldn't play anything fast-paced, but honestly, I wouldn't want to play anything fast-paced on my phone or my iPad anyways.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was getting all the way up to a second on average, and then sometimes it would just be like 2 or 3 seconds. One time I thought it had crashed. It took so long. Who knows? It might have hung up. That might have not actually just been latency. But, I mean, it was like 9 or 10 seconds. I was about to force close the app and then try it again. But I didn't notice any difference of performance between my phone and my iPad. Both of them were pretty slow. But when I disconnected my router from the modem, it would play it fine. Like almost no lag at all. So I'm guessing it uses some kind of third-party thing by default. And then if you remove it, it's like, well, I guess we can talk to each other over your local network. To some extent, I think it makes sense to use a third-party thing. I mean, I disagree with it. I think it should still be a direct connection, like, TV or whatever.
I asked them about forcing a direct connection. Like I said, I haven't heard back from them yet. Here's the funny thing is, okay, they have their top 10 most played games on their service or through their thing.
Yeah.
Care to guess any of these games? Okay, I want you to try to guess the top 3.
Let's see.
In the top 10, they have the top 10, but I want you to try to guess the top 3.
Top 3. I'm just thinking, like, a game will pop into my mind. I'm like, no, that's already got its own app, or that's, that it would be terrible. I'm going to guess Overwatch is one of them.
Overwatch is not on the list.
Okay, that's good. I thought they might say Overwatch, but I couldn't imagine play Overwatch on this. XCOM?
XCOM is not on the list.
Solitaire.
You're joking, right?
Yes, I am joking. I don't know. I can't think of.
Come on, throw games out there.
Hearthstone?
Hearthstone is not on the list. That has its own thing anyway.
I know, but I mean that was like a thing that I thought of. Let me pull up my game library and just like look at a couple. I'm seriously like thinking about this. I mean, I might be overthinking it. But
I think this is fun. I wonder if other people are dreading, hearing you guess games that are playing on the shitty service.
Is FTL on there?
FTL is not on the list. Let's put it this way.
How about
the top 3,
Civilization?
Civilization is on the list. It's not in the top 3. Civilization's is number 8 on the list. The Civilization 5.
What's the top 3?
The top 3. Number 3 is Dota 2.
What? Okay, maybe I could see that because tapping instead of clicking. All right,
or maybe with custom controls. Yeah. Number 2, GTA 5.
Why? Why would you want to play GTA 5 like this?
Only thing I could think of, and once I say this, it'll probably make a lot more sense to you. Bluetooth. controller.
I guess, but still, why would you want to play on that teeny tiny crappy screen?
And number one, well, since you've heard number 3, you could probably figure out number 1 now.
League of Legends?
Yes. And just to round out the other ones, number 10, Warframe. Good luck there.
Yeah, even if you use a controller, that game's terrible on a controller.
Only thing I could think of is people setting and trying to trade in Warframe.
Maybe, yeah.
Number 9, Fallout 4.
Okay.
Number 8, Civ 5. Number 7, Unturned. Which, don't see that one.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. I take that back. I kind of see that one because every time I see someone that has, like 2 or 3 games playing on Steam, or, 2 or 3 games in the library, they always have this game. Always. It's a free-to-play game. So, it's essentially a first-person shooter Minecraft.
With zombies?
Yeah. So, pretty much the perfect teenager game. Damn, that makes me sound old. Next on the list, Gary's Mod.
Okay.
Then Minecraft.
Okay.
And number 4 is probably the biggest shock on here. Team Fortress 2.
Okay. Whatever floats your boat, kids.
Only thing I could think of for Team Fortress 2 is people in idle or trade servers. Because trying to play the game on that, even though when they showed the demo of this or the trailer, they're using Team Fortress 2 to build their controls. But Team Fortress 2 does not play well on a controller at all. The mechanics of Team Fortress 2, outside of, I would say the engineer you could get away with playing controller. Pyro, for the most part, trying to do quick redirects with the air blast, you definitely couldn't do, but you could probably, do normal Pyro stuff on it. Heavy you could get away with. Demo you can't. Medic you probably could, even though trying to follow some people would be a little tough because controllers... Soldier, definitely not. Spy, hell no. Even though it's pretty simple. Sniper. That would be a hell of a handicap. Someone try to play sniper with a fucking controller.
You could use your accelerometers, though, and, spin around and no scope. Can no scope.
Oh. Yeah, and Scout. I was trying to think of who I was missing. Of course, Scout. Scout, no way. Scout is way too fast for a controller. Boy, that's going to piss some people off, isn't it?
What?
Someone moving too fast to be able to use a controller.
Oh, yeah.
It requires way too much twitch precision.
Not if you're bad.
Which is me trying to play Scout.
Probably be me too. I haven't played Team Fortress 2 in many years.
That would be something. Many years. That would be something that we could try to play sometime on a stream.
Yeah, it is free to play.
Yeah, and I think that you could set it up where you can have a party so you're all joining the same team. I think. We're going to have to actually look into that. It's been a while since I've really played.
Once my hard disk comes back and I have more space, I'll download it.
Yeah, Team Fortress 2. Yeah, Team Fortress 2 is not a small game.
All right. Well, before we sidetrack again, let me move on down the list. So I'll talk about the Steam Link again a little bit. So I am pretty sure that one of the big problems I had was that my hard drive was failing, and everything I was pulling was coming off of the hard drive. I didn't have any of those games installed on my SSD. So new performance report. Big picture mode still sucks. Huge donkey penis.
So, Steam Link.
Yep, and we're back. A little bit of technical difficulty, which you guys won't have to deal with. Maybe some of that will run up as Franken content. We'll see. Because
we'll
I
see
do still have
just how things sync.
Yeah, plus I do still have the Skype recording, so it's all there, just in slightly lower quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to the Steam Link. Rewinding. As I was saying, most of the problems that I think I had with the Steam Link last week were coming from my failing hard drive, because all the games were installed on that drive, and it was probably struggling to read data as it was giving up the ghost, which caused Steam to crash more than it should have. But, I mean, after installing some games on the SSD and still playing it on the Steam Link, Big Picture Mode sucks. Now, instead of crashing like... That's a genuine laugh, and I already made that comment, so you must really enjoy...
Oh, it's just the way you say, sucks.
Sucks. It sucks.
Tootsie.
Big dicks. Huge dicks. If you've ever played Cards Against Humanity, it sucks the biggest, blackest dick. Anyways, so it now, instead of crashing really early on when it has issues reading data, now it crashes once you've gotten just far enough in the game to be doing something. The 15-20 minute mark is when it usually crashes. A couple times it's gone longer than that, but usually 15 or 20 minutes. And when it crashes, it locks up my machine. So I have to either press the reset button or hold down the power button and force shut it down. I guess I could also unplug it or flip the switch, but regardless, that is very bad for your PC to do that repeatedly. If you exit Steam Big Picture Mode immediately and then just stream the game as if you were streaming it to any other device, if it crashes, it's fine. You just go over and save and close the game and restart the Steam Link. So, yeah, Steam Big Picture Mode really sucks, which I don't like that because I actually like the Steam Big Picture Mode interface. It's very aesthetically pleasing. It's not covered in ads like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus.
Well, here's the difference between the Xbox UI and the Steam UI. You're not paying for the Steam UI.
Yes.
So, wait a minute. That seems backwards, doesn't it?
I was going to say, yeah, that seems backwards, doesn't it? So, I mean, maybe one day they'll fix it, but Steam...
Yeah, Steam won't put ads on it.
Valve abandons projects all the time. So, I mean, they do regularly update the Steam Link. So maybe it'll somehow get fixed as part of one of the Steam Link updates, but I've not got my fingers crossed.
Yeah,
so, the
thing is that they have been still putting out updates to the Steam streaming service, which is what Big Picture Mode is using mostly for that. But I haven't seen a lot of updates for Big Picture Mode itself, so they may be done with the Big Picture Mode project, at least for the most part right now.
Well, they shouldn't be done with it. They should go back to working on it, lazy bastards.
And you would know.
Yeah, I've had several tweets this week that have just been, I hate... One tweet was just, I hate Big Picture Mode over and over and over again until I ran out of characters.
Yeah, then who was it that finished it for you?
I think it was Groove.
Yeah, I think it was Groove. And well, I commented on whoever it was finishing it off. You know, I'm not sure if he has established a pattern yet.
Yeah, he might want to let me go for a few more tweets before we know for sure.
I was just waiting for you to post a typed page of I hate Big Picture Mode, you know, like from The Shining.
Yeah. I thought about it, but then I decided not to waste any more time on it because I knew I'd be bitching about it later.
Big Picture Mode makes Jared a sad boy.
Indeed. What doesn't make me a sad boy, though, is Valkyria Chronicles. That's been almost the only game I've played this week for, 5 or 6 hours. I haven't got to play as many games as I would have liked this week, but...
Yeah, I'm really going to have to start playing that so you can talk more about it because you're pretty much up to where I am. Yeah,
I'm on Chapter 7. I haven't done anything with Chapter 7 yet. I finished up Chapter 6, and then I went and I checked out, the paper and messed with my squad a little bit and did research and stuff. And then I had to quit. because I was going to play more last night, but I had to quit. So
yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you'll know the point that I stopped at.
Okay. I think you said it was because of a boss or something.
Yeah, and the thing is that it was. I'll tell you this much: it's a long battle, and then things change towards the end of it, and it's one of those things that you. Well, at least for me, the way I had everything set up, I had to know about in advance to have it set up. Be ready for it. But because of how my squad was set up at the time, I wasn't ready for it, so I was caught completely off guard and just annihilated.
Right. Well, I mean, I'll see how it goes when I get there, but...
I'll give you one word, and you won't know what it really means right now, but once you get to the battle, you'll know what it means, and that'll be the battle that I ended up quitting on, at least for now.
Okay.
Glowy.
Glowy?
Yeah, Glowy.
Is that a person's name? Because there's some weird names in this game because it's Japanese.
You'll see.
Okay.
As soon as you get to the battle and have that part happen, you'll be, oh. Glowy. Yeah. And no, that's not the password for the week.
So, since getting farther in the game, though, because when I talked about it last time, I was still basically in the tutorial. I hadn't been allowed to pick my squad or anything yet. I love this game. I've got, I call myself Gay Squad number 7.
You have Jan,
I don't care. Oh, yeah, I have Jan. And Teddy. And basically my squad, the first thing I did was I picked everyone who was gay or bisexual and put them in there, regardless of what their perks or their negatives were. Just, like, to be funny. And Jan is amazing.
Jan is a good character on top of being very memorable.
Yeah, and he's actually good in combat. I don't think he has any negative aspects at all.
I don't recall that he does.
I think he's just got perks. So, yeah, Jan is wonderful. And the story...
Jan was like the mascot for my squad.
Yeah. Yeah, I use Jan every chance I can get. I wish that you could set who your commanders were that gave you your bonus AP. Because I don't like Largo, and I don't like Rosie. But they're the only two outside of... what's her face? The
Alicia?
Girl. Alicia. Outside of Alicia, they're the only two I have that give me bonus command points. So it's like, well... I guess I might as well use them to get the bonus command points. Unless there's like a situation that just doesn't call for them. And usually that's Largo, because there's not tanks everywhere. Yeah. So having a Lancer, even though he gives an extra command point, might not be the best decision, because you might need the extra useful soldier. How do you feel about snipers? Because my attempts at using snipers have all been met with failure.
Their aim
just isn't good enough.
I usually have one. Well, I'm actually really good with the snipers.
I try to aim. I try to put it on their head, but it's like, well, we're just going to miss.
Hang on. You're playing this on big picture mode, so you're using a controller, right?
Yeah, but...
There's the difference.
No, you can get it. I mean, I can still get it right on their head.
I've been using, I should say I use mouse and keyboard, and I never had it where I missed. Well, unfairly, I should say.
You're just lucky, because I also have played this on mouse and keyboard, and same results.
Maybe I'm just some sort of idiot savant when it comes to snipers in these games, because I'm really good at snipers in this and in XCOM.
The only way that I seem to be able to get snipers to work is to move them up close enough that a different troop type would be better. Because they're most effective for me at somewhere between medium and short range. And it's like, well, if I'm at medium range, I should just use a scout. And if I'm at short range, I should use an assault. So what's the point of the sniper for me? But I keep using them as I level them up and upgrade their equipment. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping their accuracy will get better. Because, I mean, the times that they do hit, I mean, they're basically a one-hit kill on anything except a hero unit, as long as they're not in cover, if you get a headshot. So, I'm just hoping that the equipment gets to where headshots become a lot more reliable. Because it's like, well, I could do one headshot and hope for the best, or I could score like 3 body shots, but if I'm going to do 3 body shots, that's 3 turns, and an assault trooper could run up there and kill him in 1. So...
Well, the thing with the sniper is a lot of times that you could get them in on a tower or something, something that gives you a lot of sight.
Yeah, I do use them for scouting a lot because they can do that.
And from there, just pick off the dangerous units.
Yeah. I usually use them to mop up because, I mean, body shots are reliable. It's the headshots that they always seem to miss. But body shots are usually pretty reliable, so I'll, send in other units and have them shoot, and it's like, okay, who's a target I could pick off? And then I'll use my sniper to do that. I don't use the tank very much either.
Yeah.
I mostly use the tank just for rolling cover.
Yeah, I usually use the tank for either rolling cover or whenever I'm trying to rush, if I have to break something that I don't think my troops could handle, I'll soften it up with the tank and then send in the troops.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got the tank and the tank babysitter who just repairs the tank because the tank draws all the fire from everything.
Well, that's
as soon
your
as it rolls up somewhere.
Situation is that, you lose the tank, you lose the engagement.
That's true. And I mean, I always put the tank in the most dangerous situations because it's just cover for all the troops. Like, I'll stack them. Like, I'll have all 7 other people behind the tank from time to time. Especially on that desert map, which I just finished in Chapter 6.
Yeah, which doesn't have a lot of cover.
Yeah, once you get past the first little base and you're assaulting the second one, it's just an open plain. So I'm like, well, I'll just drive the tank up and everyone else can fall in line behind.
Yeah, I used the snipers so much on that map.
That's the one map where I really used the snipers. I actually put a second sniper in my squad, and I was running 2 snipers.
I usually use 2 snipers.
I usually use either 1 or none. I'll go for 1 engineer, 3 scouts, 2 assaults. Let's see, 1 and 3 is 4, 2 is 6, and then if I need them, if I need them, 2 lancers. Otherwise, I'll put in 2 more assaults. But yeah, I really like it. I'm going to continue to play it. It'll probably be one of the only story games that I finish this year. Because, I mean, usually I'll play story games up to a point and then quit for one reason or another. And it's like, I just never go back to them.
I'm not going to let you quit Divinity on me just yet.
Well, no, we're not there yet. But. So the other game I played this week was an MMO, Digimon Masters Online. I was a big fan of Digimon when I was a kid. Middle school, even up into high school. And I've fallen off for the new stuff. But,
yeah, wasn't there a new movie out very recently for Digimon?
It had a new series, a new anime series.
I thought they eventually said that was a movie.
They might have made a movie, but I do know that it has a series with like 8 or 10 episodes on Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, it's free to play, so I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Might be my next MMO to play for a month or 2. Downloaded it, played it, or opened it, played it. It's a mess. God, it's a mess. I mean, it's very reflective of Eastern MMOs.
Grindfest.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but the screen is just a mess. I had maybe a 640 by 480 pixel box in the middle where there weren't like menus and text boxes and
dear God,
clickables, and it's like I have all this screen real estate.
I noticed that they don't show any of the UI.
Yeah, that's because the UI would be the entire screen, the entire screenshot if they did. It's terrible. So that's a huge point against it.
Well, okay. I went into the community hub and found some screenshots, and wow, there is a lot of UI here.
Yeah,
I mean, not nearly as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting old school EverQuest. Or have you ever seen the original interface for EverQuest?
I've never seen the original interface.
Okay, chatter away while I go find that.
Well, I mean, it could be once you get farther in, it's fine. But I had all this tutorial garbage all over the screen.
Okay, that's probably what it is, because this doesn't have any tutorial stuff.
And it lasted for a long time. I played it for an hour, and I never got out of the tutorial areas. And I just was like, I can't take it anymore. Plus, the game doesn't look very good. And it doesn't look very good in like an, it just doesn't like look up to modern stand. It just looks bad. The colors are, at least in the starting area, they're very washed out and bland. So aesthetically, it doesn't look very pleasing. The graphics look like they're about 10 years old.
Okay.
It's got...
I found the JPEG.
Okay.
I want you to click this and then tell me your immediate reaction. This is the actual UI that EverQuest launched with. And this is not made up. And this is, I would say this is pretty much just standard what you'd see while leveling.
Okay.
And remember, this is a low resolution because, it was back in the day. Immediate reaction.
That's a lot of stuff.
Okay. Not
horrible. No.
I played EverQuest back in the day. Help, options, persona, spells, view. That's standard. The icons to the right of that is your spells, and that's all the spell slots that you had. To regenerate mana, you had to sit down and up your spell book, which covered your view, which is to the right of that. The more buffs you had, the more view you lost.
Well, the thing is that this UI is, even though there's a lot of crap there, it's clean. It looks organized. The Digimon UI is just a mess. I'm sure you could organize it to look nice, but it just was, everything about the game was unenticing. I was not drawn in any sense of the way by the opening story act. There wasn't really any interesting opening, no opening cutscene like WoW or a lot of other MMOs have. There's no fun little hook in the beginning. It just drops you in this dark brown gray hallway with some NPCs that you run past, and it's here's a tutorial, go farther down the hallway, there's a tutorial, here's another tutorial. And then eventually, I say eventually, it was probably only 15 minutes. It felt like forever, but only about 15 minutes, really. It teleports you to this city, and it's welcome to the hub city. And it's there's no one here. The city's empty. How is this a hub? Go over here, and it's you go to this generic building, and it's here's more gray stuff and more tutorials. And it just was everything about this game said to me, yeah, I'm going to be really tedious and boring and not fun until you've played for 800 hours. And I just don't have the time in my life for things like that.
Really tedious and boring. Otherwise known as Super Dungeon Bros.
I mean, normally I like things that are tedious and maybe even a little bit boring. But, I mean, this just did not have any positive points for me to latch onto to keep me going.
I think I figured it out. I was about to say, sort of like Euro Truck Simulator or something like that, but it's not tedious and boring. It's engaging for Euro Truck because you're still, you're interacting with the world, and so it's you're lacking that engagement with this.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it comes, maybe I just got to the cusp of it, but it's that argument. It's well, I don't want to endure all this garbage just to get to the good stuff.
It's like all the reviews I've seen for, was it Final Fantasy 13 or 12?
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy 13.
Well, 12 had the same syndrome where, it's a really good Final Fantasy if you put 20 hours into it.
Yeah. And I get
that, that's why I haven't really jumped on Final Fantasy 13, is that it's a hell of a time investment to maybe a good game. And there's 3 of them, and I think all 3 of them have the same problem. You have to get past all the bullshit to get to the good part.
Yeah. Another thing that this game lacks that really bothered me is there's no character creation at the beginning. You're given 4 people that all look almost exactly the same. They have different hairstyles.
Wow,
and some
that's
of them
racist.
Are taller than others. But they're all just wearing white t-shirts and shorts.
So they all look the same to you. Wow, Jared. Wow.
They do all look the same. It's like, this is supposed to be a girl. That doesn't look like a girl. It also doesn't look like a boy. It just looks like a homogenous person. It's like if an alien was like... Checked. It's like if you said to an alien, it's like, hey, draw a person. Like, that's what an alien would draw. Just like a generic human. So, it just has none of the hooks that MMOs usually have to draw you in. And I get a feeling that this game is going to be like that all throughout. And sure, there would absolutely be interesting parts. I'm not like dismissing that the game has nothing to offer. But I get the sense based on the design that I saw. It's like, you're going to have to go through this. You're going to have to love the grind. We'll give you some cool stuff every once in a while, but we need to get back on that treadmill. And I don't want that.
Yeah, I'm noticing... okay, here's the consistency I'm getting with the Steam reviews. All the well-thought-out, long reviews are negative on the store page, and all the, very short reviews are the positive ones.
Yeah. So
I mean, sure, there's a couple that break the mold, but a lot of the longer ones are the negative reviews, and they're... Let's see, here's the one that has over 300 hours talking about it negatively. I'm talking about how it's pay to win.
Yeah. If I want a tedious game that's pay to win, I'll just go play Eve some more.
Well, aren't you already paying for Eve?
Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Let's move on to our first news topic. We're way over time. We're running behind. So let's move on to move on to our first news topic. Scalebound is unexpectedly canceled.
Yeah, this one really came out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden. Remember that game that came out that... okay, if I recall correctly, Scalebound was the one that was the metal dragon fighter?
Yeah.
I think I mocked it a bit just because of how over the top it looked, but I think you loved it for that.
I did. I was really looking forward to this game. I mean, I have an Xbox sitting in my living room, and 99.99% of the time, it's to watch Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime stuff, and only 0.01% of the time does it get used to play games. And I'd actually like to play games on it some more. I mean... I'd like some nice exclusives. Halo kind of sucked. We'll get to it later, but I am looking forward to Halo Wars 2. But, I would like to use the console some more. But, they had to go and cancel it, which, what it boils down to, the best that we can tell, and the best that most people in the industry seem to can tell, is that Microsoft, the publisher, wanted way more than Platinum was comfortable or felt like they could achieve, and eventually it just got to the point where it's like, okay, we're just going to have to cancel it.
Yeah, and also supposedly they had some severe developer burnout, and they had to take some time off. Now, this was one story that I heard, and by the time they came back, they realized that there was no way that they would make the publisher's schedule.
Yeah, this game has been in development for... I think 3 years that we've known about. I wouldn't be surprised if it had actually been in development for long.
Yeah, which they're throwing away at this point, really?
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, granted, we don't know how far away from being completely done, but at the same time, the E3 demo looked pretty done. Granted, that is a demo for E3, but they're not going to make completely custom assets for that.
Yeah, well, there were rumors that have been floating around, unconfirmed at this point in time, but that those were massively doctored vertical slices.
Yeah,
and that
it's hardly new for E3.
No, it's not, but that those were put together specifically to show off at E3. And then some of the other footage that they've shown in kind of the less controlled game, like the AI wasn't working, and this was earlier stuff before E3 2016. I think it was after E3 2015. The concept stuff they were showing, the AI was broken, and elements in the world just didn't make sense, and there was all kinds of placeholder stuff. And the big rumor is that they couldn't get it working on a technical level, and that the artistic stuff was doable.
Yeah, the game is technically broken. There's a lot of stuff that has to be going into that, and I could see it more there. But it's really coming down to, I think we're going to see something more of this in the future. Is that developers are just under way too much pressure for these really unrealistic schedules.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, there's always going to be crunch time. There's always going to be, that mad dash to the finish, the last week or two. But it seems like developers are extending that crunch time more and more and more and more, to the point that they're completely wrecking projects that are in years of development time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out if they had 2 or 3 more years and honestly more powerful hardware, which Scorpio's coming, which is more powerful than
but doesn't
the Xbox One. But
is Microsoft trying to do the same thing that PlayStation is, and they're not having exclusive games for the Scorpio? It has to be both?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Although there has been some talk, and I don't know, if this has been confirmed or not, but at one point they were saying, well, in the beginning we want everything everywhere, but going forward it's going to function like a mobile platform, and eventually you'll, get far enough behind that games just won't work on your console. But I don't know if they've backed out of that or if that's still a thing. That came after E3 at another conference last year. Gamescom, maybe?
Yeah, so let's see. So, eventually we'll have the Xbox Sagittarius and the Xbox Capricorn.
I want the Xbox Taurus. That's my sign.
Personally, I'm waiting for the Xbox Gemini. That way, they have the SLI built in. It's just 2 Xbox Tauruses put together,
duct taped together.
Unfortunately, eventually loop back around to the Scorpio, or maybe it'll be the Xbox Scorpio 2, and then the Sagittarius 2, and the
we'll get back to the Xbox 360. But I mean, I'm sad that Scalebound got canceled. Although I would rather it be canceled than come out and be just a mess. I think they've gone the way, like, they're doing what Blizzard does a lot of times. Like, Blizzard will get really far in projects and then realize, this is going to be...
It's not working on a technical standpoint.
It's not working, and the cost to fix it is not going to be offset by the amount of sales that we get. So it's just a money pit. Let's cut our losses and try again.
Yeah, which Platinum is able to do through Microsoft. So I do praise them for that, but at the same time, they shouldn't have been forced into this situation to begin with. And I really think we're going to see more of this in the future if the industry doesn't change, where these big projects just fall apart, or they're just shoved out until the customers really start playing a lot smarter. Because right now, just look at last year's AAA releases.
Yeah.
The vast majority of them were either completely broken on launch or had some severe issues on launch.
Yeah.
When we were trying to come up with the best of 2016, it was I had to go to what's essentially a AA title these days for Civilization, because I wouldn't call Civilization a AAA game personally, because it's so niche now.
Well, we've had that conversation a couple of times.
Yeah. We've had the conversation about developers a couple of times as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not stopping us.
Nothing ever does.
Well, here's something else, is that Scalebound was going to be an Xbox One and PlayStation 10 exclusive, which suggests that it was going to be on the Windows Store and not on Steam. So that's even worse for Windows users, because good luck using the Windows Store.
Yeah, that's still hot garbage.
So, maybe they realized that, okay, pretty much forget about getting the PC platform sales at all, because have they even had a good seller on the Windows Store yet?
Gears 4 did well on the Windows Store.
Because I know the Call of Duty on the Windows Store, there was like 3 people playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Gears 4 is the only game that's been a good seller on the Windows Store. But, I mean, I didn't have a ton to say about it, just since I was the one who did the news this week, and I like Scalebound, I wanted to talk about it.
Well, you would have probably forced it into the news anyway.
Probably. I probably would put it in. I'm the one who is like, all right, we're going to do this and this and this this week. Does that sound good? Yes? No? All right, let's do it.
What the hell? I mean, I knew 2 of the topics going to this already, so it's more what the filler content was. It's just things need to change in the games industry on multiple fronts. This is just one of them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that are changing in the gaming industry for the worse, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch.
Oh wait, are we going to do that every time? Or did you ever get around to watching the conference or that cringe fest?
I didn't watch it.
Every time they said Switch, they snapped.
Oh.
No, or had that click.
I'm not going to do that. No, I was going to, and then I went, nah, I'll just read like a whole bunch of articles and listen to like TV and Jim Sterling talk about it.
Well, what got me on the Switch conference? Well, one, I realized it was going to be in Japanese. I mean, that's natural. But they had a terrible, terrible translator. You would see them being really excited on stage talking, and the Switch is going to be the newest console for Nintendo. Really, really monotone. And it sounded like he really didn't want to be there.
Yeah. So how do we want to tackle this? We have like 87 articles.
Well, let's go general overview on the Switch, first of all. And then we'll kind of break down things.
Okay, so when they first announced the Switch and they had their little 3-minute reveal, whatever it was on YouTube and stuff, I was really excited. Like, that was excellent marketing by Nintendo. It's like,
for you at least.
We've got like these cool things, and our console was all about like being able to be the same as it is at home and on the go. And I mean, I didn't care about like going to the rooftop parties or whatever, but like,
well, you're not going to a rooftop millennial party?
I mean, I would love to, but I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I guess I could have a treetop millennial party.
No, you just get the ladder and you go up on your roof, and there's millennials hanging out there. No idea why they're there, but they're there.
I guess I need to go up there then. But anyways, their marketing was really on point, I felt like. And then this conference, just like, they made it all convoluted and terrible again. It's like, well, we've got this thing, and we've got that thing, and it can do this, and it can do that, and there's this thing that doesn't make any sense, and here's this feature that we're not going to explain, and I'm like, guys, what happened? You had it going on, and you just went and mucked it all up.
I will say that I wasn't particularly excited by their trailer when it first came out, because it was like, and you could take it out on the go and go to your millennial party. It's like, I don't want to do that. As a matter of fact, I think I would hate all those people there. I would personally hate every single one of them. So I was kind of apprehensive going into it and seeing all the limitations, all the stuff that they're talking about. It's, I'm not excited for this console. Well, obviously I wouldn't be too excited for the console anyway, but particularly in this one.
I'm still interested in it, but I'm much less interested. Like, when the first trailer came out, I was like, yeah, I want to go out and buy one of these right now. And now that I've seen this, I'm like, well, I think I'll wait and see how it's doing in like a year. I mean, not that I could buy one if I wanted it anyways right now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that. Nintendo is pulling their limited stock bullshit again. At least, here's the thing, is that they're promising that it won't have stock issues, but then all the stores are getting... Well, there's some reports online that stores are getting 15 Switches to pre-order. What? 15?
Yeah. I believe they said that they were going to have 2 million units ready to ship worldwide at launch, which is... I think that the Wii U, which was their worst-selling console in years, maybe ever, sold 500,000 units in the EU at launch. So those 2 million units are mostly for Japan, I think.
Yeah. Nintendo sees the Japanese market and they don't go beyond that. And I think that's really apparent with how they've designed the Switch. Mobile gaming is absolutely huge in Japan still. Cell phone games a bit, but it's more handheld still. The Nintendo DS mostly. Home consoles is second, and then way down the list is PC gaming.
Yeah.
So that's why you'll never see Mario on a PC game.
Don't say never. We said Mario would never be on mobile. Well, I said Mario would never be on mobile devices a couple of years ago, maybe even last year.
No. Reverse psychology. Mario will never be on a modern PC game.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Ignore what I just said, Nintendo, because you definitely listen.
Go ahead.
Reggie.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
But Nintendo has their focus on the Japanese market, and the Japanese market is for handheld mobile technology. That's what the Switch is in a nutshell. It is a tablet that has a dock.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to call it that.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is interesting. This is a tiny bit of an aside, but I know I've said on this show that in the future, at some point in the future, gaming is basically going to be, you will have one device that does everything, and you will come home and it will connect to your TV or whatever the viewing devices are in the future, and you will play games from it. And I think this is like the first step to see if that's going to be right or not. Because, it's just a tablet dock that gives it some more juice so that it can run at 100%.
Yeah, because
that was confirmed.
Yeah, the dock that goes 1080p, doesn't it? 1080p 60? Or
yeah,
that's
1080p
that's their target, I should say.
Right.
And then undocked, it's 720/60 or 720/30. I can't remember.
720/30, but developers can opt for 720/60 if they so desire.
But the battery life is really going to suffer, and the battery isn't that great to begin with. It really depends on how you view it. I look at a 2.5 to 6 hour, which they said that really depends on what you're running, and I'm going to go on the low side of that for gaming. I would say 2.5, 3.5. That's pretty short for a handheld.
Yeah,
but if you look at it as a tablet, it's about average.
Yeah, that's pretty average for tablet.
So that's
gaming.
where you're looking at it from. And
the 3DS is only good for like 5 or 6 hours, so it's not. That's not a ton more in comparison in the real world. You think, oh yeah, that's like double, but
also
it's not that much more time.
But also, it's not a time range.
That's true.
So you don't know, your Legend of Zelda may get 2.5, but your Barberman may get, the full 6. We don't know.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out what's going on there is going to be And can I talk about the peripherals?
Sure. We don't really have a specific way we're doing this, so we can just jump from topic to topic.
Well, yeah, like we usually do.
Yeah.
Okay, Nintendo is trying to sell this as a party machine. I think that's pretty evident in their trailer and how they've been talking about all the stuff that it could do. And Nintendo is shooting themselves in the foot with it because of the price of the peripherals. Because, damn.
The Pro Controller is $80, right?
Yeah, it's the last link on here.
Okay.
Or no, sorry, next to last, the Niche Gamer one. No, that's not it. It's the IGN one that's it. Put another one in. Okay. The Pro Controller is $70. The Joy-Con is $80, which is the two little controller set.
Yep.
Or individual ones are $50. A charging grip is $30, and you may think, well, you're getting with the console itself. Wrong. The one that comes with the console is not a charging grip. It is a lump of plastic. It's just, I'm looking at this and thinking, what the hell, Nintendo? You're trying to sell this as a party machine, set it up and have a bunch of people around it. But in order to do that, you have to get a second set of Joy-Cons if you're going to do some Mario Kart.
Yeah. And the only thing on here that makes sense price-wise is the dock. I still think that's a little high. But
that is very high for a dock.
But I can accept it. Everything else is about twice as expensive as it needs to be. Because the Wii U Pro controller is only like $35 or $40, and the Wiimotes are like $20. I mean, I guess if you
the
buy
Joy-Con
the
wheels
like
I could kind of see because it's a set of two.
Yeah.
But I would say the dock is probably, I would say $20 more expensive than it absolutely needs to be. Just because it's running a bunch of stuff through it, but still.
Yeah, but the reason I can accept the dock is it's like, well, how many of those are you actually going to need? Like yours breaks or you lose it
or maybe,
on a trip or something.
Or maybe a second one in the house or a second one at another place.
Yeah, but outside of that, like, you don't need to buy a whole bunch of them. But if you are going to do all the couch co-op stuff that Nintendo is, the best at, well, you're going to spend, $100+ easily.
Yeah, you don't get a game with it. There's no packing games because they wanted to try to hit the $300 mark. But here's the thing is that, okay, they got the console itself down to $300 mark, but everybody's going to look at it and see, okay, I need to get a $50 game.
Yeah.
Or a $60 game.
And they don't have like a cute little pack-in like they did with the Wii.
Yeah.
With Wii Sports.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And there's the obvious packing game and the rather laughable launch lineup. Maybe that's why they were doing it. Not because of price point. Well, price point may have been part of it, but 5 games on launch. I actually did a little bit of poking around. This is the smallest launch library I was able to find. And okay. We have Zelda. We have Bomberman. We have 1, 2, 3 Switch. 1, 2 Switch. And what was the other two?
The punchy thing. Isn't that a launch title? Whatever the punch game is.
I'm just double checking this. They're Skylanders. And Just Dance.
Yeah. So not a lot.
Yeah, and in March when this is launching, there's Snipper Clips, which I don't know. This is just a small ass JPEG that I found real quick. I can't read that. Has Been Hero, and I Am Suzuta in March. So 5 on launch day, March 3rd, and then 4 more in March, with Mario Kart coming out in late April. So unless you're a Zelda fan, or really, really, really like Just Dance, unless one of these other ones are really good that I don't know about, I would say that there's nothing in the launch library until, spring or mid-spring with Mario Kart and maybe a couple of the other ones here. Yeah,
that and their digital back catalog, which is garbage. Their ROM back catalog.
But you get one for a month if you pay for the online service because it went pay online service.
Yeah. The one positive thing that I can think about this is that maybe because people have to pay for it now, Nintendo will actually have to make it work. Yeah, I know. I'm optimistic.
Microsoft and Sony doesn't do that.
Yeah, but Nintendo's is broken and it's free, so maybe they'll fix it when you pay money for it.
They're running voice chat through a fucking smartphone app. They are not going to fix their online.
Maybe they will. Just maybe. Maybe the stars will align and Nintendo will be Nintendo. And they will Nintendo in a way that is Nintendoing.
What the hell are you on and can I have some? Because you must be high off your balls right now.
Coffee and lack of sleep.
Well, I'm running on that, and I'm not that high.
Well,
maybe I need to up the dosage or lower the dosage. Nintendo is not going to make their online worth the price that you're paying for it. Mark my words. And I want to be proven wrong on this, but I'm saying they will not make it worthwhile. And just the fact that, well, here's how much thought that they put into this. Well, let's get back to the ROM thing.
Okay.
Sony and Microsoft, you get your games for Windows, Xbox Gold. Remember, I am a PC gamer, so I think games for Windows whenever I think Xbox and the sucky things.
Xbox Gold and then the PlayStation Plus free games.
They're just free games. You get those, and as long as you're subscribed, you have those games. Nintendo, you get a ROM or a digital version of a NES or SNES game. That I will say this. I will give them credit for this. That they are making it so that multiplayer in these games will work through their service. So it's essentially an emulator that has net play. Yeah, shame PC doesn't have that. Oh wait. But here's the thing. And this is just showing you the thought that Nintendo has put into their online service. You get that for the month. Then, when the month is over, you have to buy that game if you wish to continue playing it. I can hear you Googling this to make sure this is true.
No. I know that that's true. Haven't heard anything about the price for their service yet.
I haven't heard anything either. I've heard a lot of people saying they're expecting the Xbox, $60 a year.
Because
that's kind of the industry standard at this point.
Here's what they should do, and Nintendo won't do this because Nintendo is Nintendo, and they like to Nintendo. But what they should do is say, if you pay for our subscription service, you have access to the entire NES and SNES back catalog that we have digital versions for. And for as long as you're subscribed. And I could almost guarantee you that people would buy the Switch and pay for the service just to have access to those games easily. Because, not everybody is ROMs aren't hard, but they require a little bit of technical knowledge, and a lot of people don't possess that knowledge. Mm-hmm. And even when you get them working, sometimes they just don't work properly.
Yeah.
Differences in, hardware and screen resolutions and things can cause issues, and frame rates on a lot of those games. Like a lot of the physics in old games is tied to frame rates, and, depending on how good
depending on how good the emulator is. Some games don't work right. Matter of fact, well, I haven't tried it in years and years and years, but I've tried to go back to Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, and it just was a broken mess. It just wouldn't work correctly. Granted, it probably is a lot better these days because it's been, I would say, 10 years since I tried it. And now that I really think about it, damn, has it been that long?
But anyways, if Nintendo had said that, I bet there wouldn't be anybody bitching about Nintendo having a paid service, because everyone would just reframe it as, subscribe to the Nintendo's classic library.
Yeah, but see, that would be doing online services smartly.
Yeah, that would be a proper business, or an intelligent business decision that is positive for the consumer. And Nintendo just likes to be wacky because they're Nintendo.
Well, I said it yesterday while we were recording Rocket League. Nintendo is the Apple of consoles.
Yeah.
Nintendo is not about the hardware. It is about the lifestyle. And you could tell that with their conferences.
Yeah.
And Microsoft and Sony are not anything like that. That's why it's always, the big two and Nintendo instead of the big three when it comes to the console market. Not just because of the market share that Nintendo has, it's because of how Nintendo works. You have pretty much the lifetime fans of Nintendo, and anything that they'll shit out, they'll get.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm hoping that they do something about it, but I know they won't because they're Nintendo.
Well, can we talk a little bit more about the hardware and the fact that there's not even an Ethernet port on the dock?
Sure.
They're running everything through Wi-Fi, and in order to have an Ethernet port, you have to use a dongle. So they are Apple.
Yeah, I
mean, granted, I know that isn't a huge deal breaker, but at the same time, I like to think that the consoles work a lot better with the Ethernet instead of going through Wi-Fi, because you're relying on whatever Wi-Fi device that they're putting into these consoles, and you know that it's probably going to be the cheapest that they could get that has a reasonable quality.
Well, I can confirm for you that on Xbox it doesn't really make much of a difference. At least not on the online stuff. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to using it on Xbox, when it comes to using like apps and things like Netflix, Hulu, whatever, wired is better. But for actually downloading things from the Microsoft Store or trying to play online games, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, well, funny that you mentioned downloading things, because good luck with the Switch. It has how much memory? 32
I believe
gigs?
It's got 32 gigs of built-in memory, and then
that's
you can use...
you don't even get the full 32 because that's also including that's the full system memory, and the OS takes some of that.
Yeah, but they do use SD cards, or you can expand that with SD cards, which they did with the Wii U. And I'm not sure about the Wii. I don't remember that far back, but you can do that on the Wii U. The Wii U only has 8 or 32 gigabytes of built-in memory, minus what you just said, system storage. But you can expand it with SD cards. I think the limit for the Wii U is 64 or 128 gigabytes. The Switch is, I think they said 2 terabytes of expanded storage, or is it 1 terabyte?
Well, okay, here's the difference, though, is the Wii U and the Switch. The Wii U is not a portable console. The Switch, there's a lot more incentive to have downloaded games into it. So you're going to be relying more on SD cards, which is slow compared to your internal memory.
Yeah.
Or just carrying around a bunch of game cartridges, which it is a cartridge-based system, and that's still SD cards essentially.
Well, up until here recently, SD cards only had a transfer rate of like 60 megabytes per second or something like that. And because of like GoPros and things, they actually had to go in and develop some new standards, because a GoPro could record footage at a much higher bit rate than that. And so, the SD cards couldn't keep up.
Yeah, which I do think this is using the new standard, so you can use the high rate cards, but those are also a lot more expensive. And I think it's more reasonable to expect consumers to use the cheaper alternative, at least for the time being.
Yeah. Let's just go to Amazon and just search for SD card and see what I get. SD cards are still an expensive storage medium. 64 gigabytes, $33. I can buy a 500 gigabyte hard drive or 250 gigabyte SSD for almost that much. That is buying an SSD on the cheap, but still.
Well, the thing is that you're not going to have a spinning hard drive in this. No way.
No.
If there's a hard drive in it, it would have to be solid state because it is a portable system. So that is a little unfair, but...
What's the highest capacity SD card you can buy?
I think
Amazon's giving me
terabytes.
Amazon is giving me 128 gigabytes.
I think that's the full limit right now.
Well, if you want to buy 128 gigabyte SD card, depending on brand, you're looking at anywhere from $80 to $200. So that's a very expensive memory expansion.
Well, there are prototypes for 1 terabytes out there, but there's the theoretical limit for it is supposedly 2 terabytes.
Is that just like size of components? Like that's just how much you can cram into that space?
Yeah, it's really just getting down to just how much you can fit into that space, because you're running into some size problems there.
That's what she said?
I was waiting for that.
How big can SSDs get? Storage wise.
Well, you got a lot more real estate to work with to begin with.
That's true. That's true. Why do SSDs not come in the 3.5-inch format? Because hard disks come in 2.5 and 3.5.
I have a feeling it's probably just because they're being sold for laptops a lot more.
Yeah.
And there's really no incentive for them to build the larger ones just yet.
Yeah. That makes sense, actually, now that I think about it for 2 seconds. Let's see, looks like SanDisk is hoping to have an 8 terabyte SSD out by next year. Oh no, that was from a couple years ago. So I guess they didn't. I could just go to Amazon and see what we got right now. SSD! 2 terabytes and up. 2, 4. Oh, here's 4. Looks like 4 terabytes are at the top of the relevance list. Let's just go look at the most expensive. Those will probably be the highest size. Nope, it's all the PCIe ones at like 2 and 4 terabytes. They're the most expensive. Like several $1,000s.
Wow. That's quite expensive.
Yeah. Wait, how big is that?
Well, are we talking about metric or imperial?
Oh, it's only 4 terabytes. Although that's a major professional enterprising hardware stuff. Looks like 4 terabytes is the largest you can buy on Amazon. I mean, that doesn't mean necessarily that that's the largest available, but consumer materials looks like 4 terabytes is the biggest you can get right now. But I suspect that will continue to rise. All right. Anyways, let's get back on track here. After our derailment.
Yeah.
Our take 3.
Yeah. Fucking Chrome.
Yep. Okay. What else do you want to talk about on the Switch? Or have we covered it?
Well, we've covered my gripes, really. The complete lack of the launch library is just ridiculous. But then again, yeah. Well, here's the thing: is maybe Nintendo is compensating for the fact that nobody's going to be able to buy this thing before Christmas 2017. Maybe. I mean, you hit all of the gripes that I had. I don't have any other gripes for it. I mean, I'm less excited than I was. I'm not sure if it's physically possible for me to be less excited than what I was.
You could be dead.
No, I think that actually improves my excitement for it.
That'd be an improvement. Oh, okay. I mean, I want one still, but I'm not even going to consider trying to maybe get one sooner, closer to release. I'll probably wait till Christmas and see how it does and if there's any good bundles. Because that's what I did with the Wii U. I waited until, I think it was the year after its launch at Christmas, and I got like the console and 3 or 4 games for like $350.
Well, the thing is that I'm trying to think of where their selling point is for this, because it's not Zelda, because you could get that for the Wii U. And honestly, from the screenshots I've looked at, it's the Wii U version isn't that far behind.
Yeah. I mean, its primary audience, I think, is Japan. The Japanese, or maybe a little bit wider than Japan, most Asian markets, just because of the difference in culture compared.
Yeah.
And then hardcore Nintendo fans. And then in a few years, if it reviews well and if it actually works properly when it's in tablet mode and all that jazz, maybe not in a few years, maybe in like a year, it'll get picked up a little more by the non-diehard Nintendo people like me. I just hope it does better than the Wii U. I mean, this is...
I think it has to do like the Virtual Boy to do worse than the Wii U.
Well, I mean, it really needs to do better than the Wii U. I'm not one of these people saying like, oh, this is Nintendo's last chance to do something, otherwise they're going to be irrelevant. Like, I don't think that's the case, But this might be Nintendo's last attempt at sticking into the console market and not focusing more on handheld or mobile development. And I hope it does well, because we need, as weird and as wacky and as kooky as they are, we need every major developer we can to keep, each other in check. And if we lose Nintendo, that leaves Microsoft and Sony and maybe Valve, in a few more years if they get their act together. And I don't like that landscape.
Yeah, it's things are just, it's all homogenizing. It's the EA problem, is that the bigger guys are swallowing up the smaller ones, and you're going to end up with just a few big fish in the pool and dealing with what they shit out instead of having all the little guys.
I am okay with a few big fish as long as there are a few and not just two.
Well, that's the problem, is that we're looking at just a few at this point, and it's more not they're vastly different enough that if you fall into one of those dishes that one caters to, it is one fish.
Yeah.
And that's going to be part of the problem, is that you're going to be looking at that and just seeing, okay, I'm really into platformers, so it's pretty much Nintendo at this point. Yes, there are platformers on other systems, but you don't really have the Nintendo brand platformers other places outside of indie games on PC. Do you think that's fair to say?
I think so.
Or you like shooters? Well, outside of Splatoon, you don't really have a lot on Nintendo that I could think of offhand.
Outside of Splatoon, I don't think you have anything on Nintendo.
Well, on the Wii U, Splatoon's like the big shooter there.
Yeah.
Which was praised for being weird because, it's a Nintendo shooter. You don't see a lot of that. So you're trying to go to either PC, PlayStation, or Xbox, depending on what you're looking for.
I guess Wii U had two really crappy Metroid games. Those were shooters.
Yeah, but I don't think we talk about those, right?
No, we don't talk about those. Okay. Well, best of luck, Nintendo. You're weird and you're wacky, and I think half the stuff you're doing is stupid, but, Nintendo surprises us. So
yeah, and sometimes even in a good way.
Yeah. So good luck, guys. And let's move on to a more positive outlook of the future, with the games that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, especially considering a couple of days things are not going to be very positive.
Yeah, let's not think about that. Let's not. Actually, if you're listening to this and you're not somehow cheating, that's today, so. But we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to dwell on it. Let's think about happy things.
Let's put it this way. Only thing I'm looking forward to Friday is you tweeting about it. Because I know you're going to tweet about it.
Yep.
I think you would have to be dead for you not to be tweeting.
I have a client at noon when it starts, and then I've got a break for a few hours. So,
oh boy,
be prepared for tweets.
And the thing is, this tells you the lifestyle I lead. I go to sleep at about noon.
Yep.
Well, assuming I don't have just insomnia, and I'm saying they're just wide awake, like, okay, where's the mallet? So, yeah, I'll be sleeping through that, thankfully.
Wake up to some entertainment from me.
I'll wake up to the apocalypse.
Wake up like in The Walking Dead. Wake up in the hospital like, what happened? But no, let's talk about games that we're excited that are coming out in 2017.
Okay.
We've each got 6, and you based your number off of how many I had. So
yeah.
We'll alternate. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Well, mine are in their release order based on this just one website that I looked at.
Well, a lot of mine are to be determined on releases, and I kind of cheated and I went through the Steam upcoming list, because I'll be honest, I looked at some of the upcoming lists and was like, there's nothing here that I could say I'm excited for.
Right. Well, my first game is Halo Wars 2. That comes out a month from now. Almost exactly a month from now, actually. And I mean, I love the Halo universe. I've talked about it at length. I love the expanded universe. I loved the earlier games. And I'm a huge fan of RTS, and it's very rare to find an RTS that plays well on console, just because of, the whole controller thing not being great for RTS. But not only was Halo Wars a Halo game with a good story, but it actually was an RTS that controlled really well on a controller. And I mean, yes, they definitely made compromises and sacrifices, but it played really well. And I spent a long time playing it. It was one of the only games that I got 1,000 gamer score in, which was basically 100% complete. And so I'm really looking forward to the second one coming out. I haven't decided if I want to buy it on console or PC. I probably will buy it on console just because you can stream from the Xbox to your PC, but you can't do it the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I can play it if I want to sit on the couch or if I want to sit at my desk. I can play it in both places. But I really doubt. I mean, I wait for the review, make sure it's not like broken. But I mean, I loved the first game. I loved the universe. So as long as it's not just a broken mess, I'll probably be buying this one brand new or really close to brand new. And I'm excited for it. It's probably the game I'm most looking forward to this year. Although it does have a close second with another one of my games that's on this list, Mass Effect Andromeda. But I'll talk about that when I get down to it when it's my turn. What about you, Rage? What's your first one?
Okay, my first one is the new South Park game, South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
Tee-hee.
I will admit that I haven't completed the Stick of Truth yet, but I absolutely love the take of, essentially a satire of the fantasy genre, really.
Yeah.
And the Fractured But Whole is a satire on the entire superhero genre. And but it's not just, the Stick of Truth with, a superhero mask over it, if you pardon the turn of phrase there. But they're really deepening the combat, which was really the weak point of the Stick of Truth, because the Stick of Truth, once you set up properly, it was just, a pretty much auto win. And then the game will throw a new thing at you, and you have to figure out what to do with that, and, then it's pretty much barreling through again.
Right.
And essentially the only wild card was the summons, which you could use once per day, which the game takes place over 3 days. So you essentially get one set for the first day, one set for the second day, and one set for the third day, which all of them are essentially just an instant out of combat thing, but you couldn't use them in boss fights. So it was more, oh crap, I'm about to lose, and I'm right at the, just need to heal up.
Right.
Use the summon to end combat. And some of them were kind of awesome, like Jesus coming down out of the sky, putting on shades, and then shooting people with an assault rifle.
Yeah.
The Fractured But Whole's combat is a lot more strategic. I don't want to call it XCOM-like, but it's a grid-based system where you're moving around and setting up combos. And it looks to add a lot more depth to the game. And plus, superheroes are kind of the flavor of the month right now. And just the fact that they're making fun of both Marvel and DC in the trailer for this thing just tells me that they're really going to be on point for it. At least I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. It's just I'm not a big fan of South Park, which was the problem I had with the first one. This looks really good.
Here's the thing. Is I'm not a huge fan. I like South Park. But because of it's more of a general satire, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And that's where it really shines for me. Granted, it does have its South Park moments. Like there's one. You're okay. This is going to sell a stick of truth for you. Okay.
Okay.
There's one boss fight about halfway through the game where you're shrunk down and you're fighting.
Inside.
No. You're fighting the underwear gnomes on your parents' bed while they're fucking.
Oh.
And you can see them fucking in the background. And the end of the boss fight, your father's balls come in and knock you off the bed.
Okay.
I think that sold the game to you just now, didn't it?
Maybe. Although I could just watch that on YouTube as well.
Assuming that you could, you can find it, but YouTube probably would frown on that.
Probably
on that cutscene, because YouTube doesn't like fun stuff, especially that fun stuff.
You can't find nudity on YouTube, though.
Yeah. Matter of fact, a lot of times accidentally through thumbnails.
Yeah.
It's just the thing is that it's against their terms of service usually, so which YouTube is really odd about how they handle that anyway. But getting back to the stick of truth, and because it's more of a general satire for me, yes, it has a lot of South Park references, and some of them are lost on me, I will admit, but it's a lot of the older South Park references as well. So
yeah.
I still get them. But it was more of, for the fantasy genre, making fun of, one of the few times I actually support Cartman because he wants to kill the stinking elves.
Yeah, you and your thing against elves because of Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah. If you ever played Dwarf Fortress and spent any time trying to deal with the elves, you would hate them. Trust me.
Or elves.
The the elves are tree-hugging, hypocritical bastards who will try to kill you if you harm a tree.
Doesn't sound very fun.
And they'll actually cut off trade relations with you if you try to sell them things in a wooden bin. And no, I'm not.
Everybody likes a little wood.
Wink. They'll cut off trade relations with you if you try to sell them glass products, because glass products use ash in them, which you get ash from burning wood.
You get ash from Pokemon. That was bad. I'll leave now.
Sorry, I didn't catch him that one.
Oh, it's a zinger right there.
Yeah, unlike what Ash usually does.
Okay. Are we ready to move on down the line?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. My second game is For Honor, which is the Ubisoft third-person brawler thingy that, frankly, looks amazing and has the best spokesperson ever, the Pirate King, at E3. I've been looking forward to this game since E3 2015. I think that was the first place that it was announced. And they originally it was going to be multiplayer only, which I was kind of on, but it still looked really cool. So I was like, this could be a bargain game for me one day. And then they've since added co-op and single-player content.
Yeah, but it's online only still, or online required. At least last I heard.
Well, I mean, that might be true, and that sucks, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, unless they changed it very recently, it's an online required game. You have to be online to play, even single-player stuff.
Well, I mean, I'm never not online.
Oh, no. That's not the problem of connection required.
You mean when the servers go down?
Yeah, it's when either the servers go down, your internet's down, or something in between is fucked up. That's the problem.
Yeah, but there'll be a crack.
Connection required.
Somebody will put out a crack for it, and then you get that. But regardless, the reason I'm most excited for it is that my mom likes this game. She likes the look of it, and so we're going to get it and play together. And I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I'll have to carry her the whole time. I mean, I love my mother, but she's really bad at this kind of game. And she doesn't learn very well. It took her a long time to learn how to play WoW. And WoW is very slow and easy to actually just play. But
especially if you play a hunter.
But it'll still be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I love how you just ignored that.
Yeah.
You played a hunter, didn't you?
I've played several hunters.
Well, I'm just making fun of hunters because that's... well, at least when I played, that was the token easy class. I'm not sure if it still is.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've played. I mean, I didn't feel like it was too easy last time I played one of my hunters, but I mean, it's been years, It had been a while since I'd played anyways, and many changes had happened. But regardless, I'm looking forward to For Honor. It looks good. I hope it's good. And as long as it's good, it'll be a game I can play with my mommy.
Aww.
And that'll be fun. So, that's that. Your turn.
Okay, my next one is me cheating. Because technically it's out now, but this is an early access game, which should come out early access this year. Divinity Original Sin 2. Because, well, we're currently playing the first one, and supposedly the second one is the first one, but it greatly improved on all aspects. For example, the multiplayer, you could have 4 people instead of just 2.
Yeah.
Which, there are mods to allow 4 people co-op in Divinity Original Sin, but, it's mods and not the base game. And there's different races in Divinity Original Sin 2, and it's just, I can't really talk a lot about it because I haven't looked into it enough, because I'm not willing to spoil myself. Not just for this game, but the original, because they could be talking about story parts from the original game, and I don't know about them. So this is more, my blind pick, just based on what I played with Divinity Original Sin.
Yeah.
And plus, it's also Studio Lorien, and they do amazing stuff. So, yeah, that's my kind of just blind pick.
Yeah. Was that the one that you cheated to bring on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, to match me in numbers.
Yeah, essentially, because, like I said, it's available right now, but it's an early access RPG. You do not play early access RPGs.
No, you don't. Well, I mean, you could, but you shouldn't. Okay, well, my next game on the list is Mass Effect Andromeda. As far as series go, the Mass Effect series is my favorite series of all time. I just loved the overarching story, even the convoluted and kind of crummy ending. I still enjoyed it because it was the ending to my journey and yada yada, all that. And Andromeda is the next step. It's been, how many years? 4? 5 years since a Mass Effect game.
Oh no, I didn't play 3. With the whole controversy surrounding 3 with the ending, and then it blew up into the whole, well, you're just entitled. I just lost all interest in playing Mass Effect.
It has been 5 years since Mass Effect 3 came out. So I'm really looking forward to another adventure through the Mass Effect universe. All of the pre-game stuff looks pretty good, like the stuff that they've released. I'm excited to go to a new universe, kind of be set aside from the whole, Reaper saga and Shepard. Like, I love Shepard as a character, but I'm really glad they didn't go back and try and do a prequel or somehow tack a 4th game on to the trilogy, because there's really nowhere they could have gone that would have done that story justice.
Maybe they could have put a 4th game in and actually put in the proper ending. Or do DLC and say, okay, well, fix it in DLC. Here, give us $15.
They did do that, though.
Oh, they did? Like I said, I didn't pay attention to Mass Effect 3.
They changed the ending and added a whole bunch of stuff to it to flush it out a little bit more.
Oh, they added another color?
And then they added DLC, which had like some other stuff, and it's like, this is the true ending to the game.
The rest of that was just a terrible fever dream.
But
anyways, acid, he took acid and had this dream where there was all these colors.
But anyways, I'm glad that they didn't continue to or attempt to try to continue the Shepherd saga. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, this is probably a game I'll buy pretty close to release as long as it's not a broken mess. I have no idea how I'm going to buy it though, because I know from like it just won't work on Xbox One. It just won't. So I'm gonna have to decide if I want to buy it on Origin. At which point in time I'm gonna have to go, well, do I want to buy the other 3 Mass Effect games and then disappear off the face of the planet for about 4 months?
I'll be texting you, Jared, it's time to record. Not yet. I'm almost to the point where I'm fucking Joker or something. Because you've modded Joker into one of the sex scenes.
There is Rule 34 of Joker having sex with characters.
Also known as Rule 34.
Indeed.
I know I have one of the Mass Effect games on Origin, but I'm actually trying to beat up Origin right now to see which one. I think it's Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, I hate that Mass Effect 3 never came out on Steam. But, I mean, it's smart. If you want to play the whole trilogy, it's a smart business move. If you want to play the whole trilogy, you have to go to Origin.
Smart business move, but it fucks over consumers. And so I hate it. That's another reason why I didn't buy Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. Let's see. The Mass Effect trilogy. Oh, it's only $30? Does it have all the DLC included?
No. There was never a complete package for Mass Effect 2. In order to get the DLC for Mass Effect 2, you have to get the BioWare points.
You could buy in stores, because you could buy the trilogy, and it had all the DLC even for Mass Effect 2. Like, you could buy the physical package, and it had, like, a code inside that you put in, and it gave you all that garbage. Oh, man. Oh. Be still, my beating heart. Only $30.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna hold off for now.
Kyle, can you hear me? I may need you.
But you bet your ass I'm gonna buy this soon. I'll wait till I get my hard disk back, because I mean, there's no way all 3 of these games will fit on my SSD. But I think it's time for another romp through the Mass Effect universe.
Oh boy!
One more time. There's no way I'll make it. Maybe I'll play all 3, and then that's when I'll buy Andromeda once I finish the trilogy again. Yeah.
Okay, well, Origin just finished installing updates, so I'm seeing which one I have. Let's see. Oh, it's my game library. I don't use this often enough. I have Mass Effect 2, the base version.
Okay.
I have actually a lot of games on Origin.
Free games?
Yeah. I have Dragon Age that I haven't gone through in ages. I have the 1st and 3rd Dead Space.
The best and the worst.
Yeah, I guess if I ever want to do a series on all 3 of them, I guess I'm going to have to buy the second one, or just wait for them to eventually give it away.
Yeah.
But I also have one of the better, one of the underrated games on here as well, Jade Empire.
Yeah.
I think that's a really underrated one, don't you?
It is. It's a really good game.
I'm a little sad that they never continued it, but with the way they've gone these days, I almost don't want them to do a Jade Empire now.
Yeah.
Because I just see what they did with Dragon Age. Because nothing against the current Dragon Age. It's just I far prefer how they handled Dragon Age Origins, combat-wise.
Yeah, I prefer its combat to Inquisition's combat, but Inquisition is still a good game. It's still got the BioWare writing, which is what makes those games, so... anyways, is it your turn? It is your turn.
Yeah. Another one that I can't talk a lot about, mostly because there's not a lot known about it just yet, as far as I know. Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3. I never really played the first Dawn of War. I haven't, or at least part of it. They had the gold edition now on Steam, and they eventually gave away part of it. But I absolutely loved playing Dawn of War 2. I'd never beat it. There's a lot of games that I play several hours of, and then I just put down and step away from. And Dawn of War 2 kind of suffered that. But it was a squad-based RTS. almost MOBA-esque, where you're controlling individual units instead of this massive army.
Yeah.
But I absolutely loved it. Granted, I didn't really get into the lore. That was my problem with Space Marine, is that I've never sat down and figured out the lore or read through the books or anything. So I don't have the knowledge to say, oh, well, it's that guy, or, know the backstory of all the units and everything. So I'm not invested in it, but I will say that I absolutely love playing Dawn of War, and I hope that the third one lives up to what the second one did. And it seems like they are doing that.
Yeah. I know I think we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. I know some of the Warhammer lore, but not a ton.
When I talked about Space Marine, finishing that off.
Yeah, so I won't have that conversation again then.
Yeah, but you can see on the screenshots, a lot of it is very, very small amounts of units.
Yeah.
But it looks like they may be bringing back base building, which was something that they took out of Dawn of War 2, which I'm not sold on having to have base building in an RTS if they set it up right.
Yeah.
Something like how the Company of Heroes games does it, where it's you don't have your production, or you don't have the resource production. Sorry, I was blanking on a word there. In your base, instead you're capturing nodes to generate resources over time. I like that style, but whenever you start getting into the StarCraft stuff, it really depends on how they set it up. Yeah, where you have your resource production in base, and you have to watch for people sniping your production there instead of having the battle out in the field.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my next game is the one outlier on my list, I think. Yooka-Laylee. I honestly don't know if I'll actually play this game, but I'm really excited to see it because of a lot of the discussions we've had, on our time so far on the podcast with the game industry goes the wrong direction. It abandons things that people still want, but they think that it's moved on. They take the wrong lessons from things.
Nintendo.
Yeah, but it's nice to see a 3D platformer built by, some of the people who made a great one in the past, and all the support that this game got. I mean, who knows? I might play it.
Yeah, I didn't see about this. Who's making this?
The same people who made Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was about to say that I'm looking at the screenshot or the art of this. It looks like a platformer. This is going to sound really like a backhanded compliment, but it looks like a high texture pack on a 90s platformer.
That's basically what it is. That's what Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong Country, which is the other game that they did, or I guess are famous for, are 90s platformers. So I'm really excited, and I hope that this sort of thing gets picked up, because there's a few Kickstarters this year. There's this, and what's the one that was the Castlevania dev is making?
I don't know offhand.
Well, whatever. The dev behind Castlevania is making a Kickstarter game that's supposed to release this year. Another genre that many people consider dead or dying, and it received millions of dollars in backing because people actually want those games, and good versions of those games really don't exist or are very, very hard to come by these days. But people still want new games, that capitalize on advances in technology in those genres. So,
yeah, I'm looking at some of the trailers for this, and it does remind me of the 90s genre.
Yeah. So, just as long as it doesn't go the Mighty Number 9 route. Hopefully it's not that, and it's good.
Yeah, we never really talked about that.
Well, yeah, but it was a huge flop, terrible, lots of problems.
And also a lot of drama with their PR person just being terrible.
Like an anime fan on prom night.
Ugh.
It'll have you what was it? It'll have you crying like an anime fan on prom night. There you go. That's it. I found that funny. But like funny in like a you guys are dumbasses sort of way.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm looking forward to this. No idea if I'll play it. I might pick it up to have something to play with the kid. Actually, now that I think about it. But we'll see. You know, just as long as it's not a broken mess and the dev cycle or, you know, the devs did a good job, which the stuff that we've seen seems to indicate that they've done a good job. Whereas Mighty Number 9, you know, the signs were there for about a year that the game was not going to be so
Yeah, but the
so
problem
good.
was that that was after the Kickstarter ended.
Yeah, so hopefully it's good. I mean, we'll find out in April. Actually, I think this comes out right after my kid's birthday, as long as the release date doesn't get pushed. Yeah, the 11th. My kid's birthday is the 8th, so...
Yeah, so... well, the thing is that I would never count on release dates holding up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these that have dates, I doubt they'll move that much. Maybe like a month or two. But the last two on my list are just like they have quarter numbers beside them. So, ultimately I expect them to get pushed to 2018. But
hell, well, one game from my list last year, Cuphead. It was slated for summer of last year, and it still isn't out.
Yeah, Cuphead's supposed to come out this year, though. It's got, I think, a hard release date.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting it on the list, but I decided not to. Mostly because I talked about it last year, and there's not really a lot more to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. This next game you have, though, looks interesting.
Yeah, I was picking through the Steam library, looking at upcoming games, because I'll be perfectly honest. I looked at some of the upcoming game lists on different sites, and, well, let's put it this way. It's pretty much the same list on every single site. I think that's about fair to say. Most of them were on the AAA side of things, maybe with the larger indie games as well. And a lot of them were either ones you had on your list or just didn't appeal to me.
Right.
So I started picking through the Steam library, looking for something interesting, and I found something. It's called Foxhole. This is an MMO war game. And you can technically play it now, but I'm kind of cheating once again. It's in the very early stages. So I'm expecting a release late this year or next year.
Yeah.
It's a top-down sort of isometric. I'm not sure if it has a 3D camera or not. I actually didn't check that. Shooter. But the thing is that it's almost PlanetSide-like. Well, it is PlanetSide-like where it's depending on the players, and it's all just a sandbox where you're able to build all your defenses and everything. You have your mining sites, your salvaging scrap. You take those to factories and convert them into usable resources, and then you build up everything. And it seems very interesting. And it really comes down to how the community supports it. Because that's what it is for these indie games, is the support of the community and how well the community both supports it and brings in new players. Because if the community is very small but hostile to new players, they're going to remain small.
Huh. Pre-early access. You can play it, though, right now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to go paid or how they're paying for this. I just found it literally just before the show, so... But I was, looking for something interesting.
Yeah.
And I found it.
I'm installing it right now. I'll play it this week. Obviously way, way, way early access, more concept than anything, I suppose, at this stage. But
yeah,
it's a really fascinating concept I'd like to check out and see if it's interesting. Kind of like Celestial Command. Very much a concept, but I like the concept, so I'll stick around. And heck, free? I'm down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to go paid or how they're monetizing this. Because that's also going to be the big thing, monetization. If they go a paid store where, it's all cosmetics, I have no problem with it. But, if it starts to get guns and you buy resources or you mine them, that starts to get a little iffy.
Yeah.
Because then it comes down to which side has the whale on it.
Yeah. Well, I'll report on it next week.
Yeah, I may check it out with you.
Sounds good.
That could be an interest. Well, it probably wouldn't be good to do a stream night on it, but get together some night and play it during the week.
Yeah. Okay. My next game is Ace Combat 7. This is another one. Honestly, I thought Ace Combat was dead after the last Ace Combat game, which at its core as a flying game was still good. Or I guess I should say it's still mechanically sound. But they dropped it into the real world and tried to give it like this cheesy American action movie storyline. And that just killed a lot of the magic of the game. Because the Ace Combat series has always been weird. Not exactly like wacky, crazy, but they do always have these elements of kind of either supernatural kind of mysticism type stuff, or like they introduce like at the end like, oh my gosh, it's crazy sci-fi stuff, and the story itself has still been like a little odd, but that with that missing, it kind of lost its soul. And it's like, well, I mean, this is a competent arcade flight combat game, but there's other ones out there that honestly are better mechanically than this, so it's serviceable but not great. So without its soul, it was kind of boring. And Ace Combat 7 is taking it back to how it used to be. They haven't released very many story details. They just have confirmed, like, no, we heard our fans. We're going to do away with that stuff. We're going to go back to our fantasy universes and tell stories from there. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it comes out on Steam, on PC, I should say. Because I've never played an Ace Combat game with an actual flight stick, because the only flight stick that worked with them on Xbox was like $100, and I never bought it because why would I? I was like
for a
in
single
high
game.
School. Yeah. Actually, I think Ace Combat 6 came out while I was in college, but I mean, I was a poor college kid. I didn't have money. Heck, I don't have very much money now, but regardless, I wasn't going to pay $100 for the Ace, for the flight stick that was good for like 2 games, and I only had one of them, So
I'll be honest, I was very tempted by the massive controller that was good for 1 game on the original Xbox, Steel Battalion.
Yeah, Steel Battalion.
Well, the thing is that nowadays you could use it to through drivers on PC to actually run a PC game, and it'd take your entire desk to do it.
So worth it, though. It'd be worth it if I had the desk space. I mean, I've got more desk space now than I did 2 months ago, but not that much desk space. But
if I had that controller, I would figure out how to use it somewhere.
Yeah.
I have the battle station where I turn around my monitor and have it set next to the desk.
Yeah. But Ace Combat has got a Q3 estimated release, so if it comes out in 2017, I'll be surprised, but, fingers crossed that it makes it. This will probably be a game that I would buy like day one, like just from excitement, which is dangerous, but like I have this very profound connection with Ace Combat. Like, it was one of the few games that I had as a kid for like my PlayStation when I was, I don't know, middle school, late elementary, early middle school, because there's been quite a few Ace Combat games. I jumped in the series at Ace Combat 4, but, the numbered releases are kind of the main ones, and for every numbered release, there's like 3 spin-off games. So I've played quite a few Ace Combat games and have unlocked everything in all of them that I've ever played, and like perfected all the missions, and like I would just play through it over and over and over and over again. 1, because I was a kid and I didn't have very many games, but 2, just like I did have other games I could play over and over again, and I didn't play them. I was playing Ace Combat, so. It and Naval Ops. I should put Naval Ops on the Game Club list.
Oh boy.
It's interesting. I don't know if you'd like it or not, but it's interesting.
Well, hang on. There was one game that I found while poking around that would have been... I'm surprised it wasn't on your list, actually.
What is it?
Here it is. I'm going to link it to you.
Okay.
And I'm surprised that it's not on your list. It's probably you didn't know about it.
Yeah,
and
probably
not.
And
it's going to be your 7th game now.
Train Mechanic Simulator. Huh. All right. Yep, that's on the wish list.
I mean, I saw this like, well, this has Jared written all over it.
It looks a little iffy. I mean, it looks like it would be up my alley if it works, but
well, all the controls look like they're... What language is that? Russian? German?
I'm not sure. It definitely has had some improper English translations at points on the store page. Yeah. So, well, I mean, it looks interesting. Hopefully it works well. So if it does, I'll buy it.
Oh, no. I just did a quick translation. This is Polish.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe they could hire one of our friends to do a translation of this.
Maybe. Oh, that train's crashed. And you have to fix it. You have to rescue it with a crane and repair it.
Yes. They just sold it to you, didn't they?
I'm pleased.
Like I said, I saw this and I thought of you.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, I'll keep my eye on it.
But this is also what happens whenever I go through the Steam upcoming releases. As I start finding weird shit. Like Foxhole and Train Mechanic Simulator 2017.
Yeah. Okay. You are next, correct? Yeah, because I just did Ace Combat and we kind of got off the rails on it a little bit. So you're up.
Oh, nice pun.
Hey-o.
Okay, how about one that I actually know a bit about? Heat Signature.
I think I remember you talking about this game a few months ago.
Yeah, this is from Tom Francis. He did Gunpoint, if you ever seen that game.
It sounds familiar. Let me look it up.
You're a spy in Gunpoint, and the big thing about it is it's a stealth puzzle game, essentially.
Right.
Where you're rewiring the level to do certain things. To allow you to progress or to kill the guards.
Uh-huh.
Well, Heat Signature, it's a procedurally generated space game, and your goal is to do missions in it. I'm not sure if there's going to be a story in this yet. He's talking more about the mechanics of the game still. But all of the spaceships are procedurally generated, and you take them over, or just kill everyone and get the loot off of them. And kind of rinse and repeat. It's still a stealth game in the sense of Gunpoint, but you are. It's essentially a space pirate simulator, and it looks very interesting to me.
Yeah, it does not. It looks interesting, but not like it's up my alley.
Well, it really depends on how they handle things.
Yeah.
But I want to see where they go with this, and that's what really my list is either games I really want to play or games I'm interested to see where they're going.
Right.
And that's one of these. This one's one of those, I should say.
Right.
And plus, I did like Gunpoint. Granted, I haven't beaten it yet, and it's one of those games that I have for my channel eventually.
Yeah.
But it has Gunpoint has a very solid, almost puzzle-esque game to it. So I'm expecting something like that with this, where as the level generates, it gives you different options, which he's already demonstrated that it does. That you could essentially blow out the airlocks, for example, out of a section of the ship.
Yeah.
Or even just take the ship over completely.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it looks interesting, but not necessarily like something that I'm typically interested in. But, I'd check it out, see some gameplay, some reviews. It's interesting and an interesting enough concept that I would not just dismiss it out of hand. So, okay. Well, my last game is Prey, which is slotted everything because they're coming. It's slotted for Q4 2017, so obviously that will be in 2018 unless like a miracle happens or something. But
so you're praying for that. Got it.
I'm praying for Prey. But anyways, normally I don't go for like kind of scary type looking games, but the trailer and all of the early kind of looks at Prey, it just seems really interesting, fascinating to me, like the concept of the story, like going through the same thing time after time after time, day after day, in like this sci-fi universe instead of like a weird fantasy setting or something like that. It just, the setting and the gameplay that they showed off look interesting to me, and I liked the original Prey. I mean, this is a remake. I don't know how much it will, if any at all, have in common with the original Prey, but it just, for me, this is like, this looks interesting and fascinating, and I think I would like it. Let's see where it goes. So this is that for me, because all the other games are something like, for one reason or another, I'm really excited to see them come, as long as they are wink, as long as they are well done games that hold up. Mm-hmm. But Prey, I'm like, I don't know, but this is intriguing, and let's see. So to kind of round out my list, I went with one of those for the end.
Okay, and to round out my list, I went with a new installment of a game that I played ages and ages ago, The Guild. In this case, The Guild 3. The Guild 2, I should probably tell you what The Guild 2 is.
I've played The Guild 2, but...
Okay, The Guild 2, for those of you who don't know, is essentially a medieval economic simulator, or I should say a medieval life simulator, because you can do other things in it. You can run for office and try to rise up the political ladder. You could be a thief and just rob, people going by, or not stagecoaches, but wagons. Sorry, that would be a Western version of the Guild, which would actually really work, actually.
Yeah.
Or, that sort of thing, where it's a medieval life simulator. And the Guild 3 is, I don't know a lot about it. I don't think they've released a lot about it just yet. But it's, what I really want is essentially the Guild 2 with a bit better interface. Because that's really the downfall of the Guild, is that it's convoluted in some of the mechanics, and its interface isn't the greatest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've played the Guild. I've actually never played it on Steam. I own it on Steam, but I've never played it on Steam.
I think I played it a bit on Steam. And supposedly, the Guild is really good with multiplayer, but getting the multiplayer working these days is a hassle. So yeah. I'm hoping that the Steam works, does something for the multiplayer scene of this. The fact that it could do 16-player multiplayer for the Guild 3 would just be chaos.
It'd be fun, though.
And here's the thing, is that you don't really... at least in the Guild 2, we don't know a lot of info about the Guild 3 just yet. Matter of fact, a lot of the screenshots on the Guild 3 Steam store page is all concept art still. But in the Guild 2, you're playing a family, and you directly control the head of the family, and you get have influence over the rest of the family, or the immediate family, I guess I should say, you could control. But then you could start hiring people and expanding outwards. So you can have, that uncle that goes off and starts robbing wagons. to try to sabotage the rest of the players while you work up your mining and blacksmithing empire.
Which I would do.
Yeah, you would have the mining and blacksmithing empire and try to run for office. Right?
Not so sure about that last one. Maybe, but definitely mining and smithing.
And what was also interesting was that the political factions, it wasn't just, a win situation. It also granted you certain abilities, such as once you got sheriff, you had the ability to arrest people. So you could trump up charges on your opponents and start arresting their key family members. Granted, if you did it too much, you could start pissing off the wrong people and get thrown out of office, but still the option was there. It's just a very interesting game genre that I was a little surprised to see that they were making a third one. Because you don't really see a lot of games like this anymore.
Nope, but I'm happy they are. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled or nothing happens to it, because I absolutely would buy that as well.
But this is also being published by THQ Nordic, which they've done quite a few and a huge assortment of games, including publishing the Guild 2, I might add. But yeah, they published This Is the Police, for example, very recently.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm just looking at their relevance on Steam, browsing THQ Nordic. They have the This Is the Police. Then they have things like the Painkiller Black Edition. That tells you just the range, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready to move on to our community corner?
I think so.
Okie dokie. I'm sitting here looking at the time, wondering if we're going to be done by 2:30. I hope so.
Yeah, sorry.
The sleepiness is starting to creep in a little bit. I mean, I'm not like falling asleep or anything, but it is getting a little bit harder to concentrate.
Jared.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes, baby.
Kyle's writing stuff about us right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You just slide on over here right next to me, big boy. I'll give him something to write about.
Meanwhile, Kyle feverishly hammers away on his keyboard, imagining dirty, dirty things.
Like my penis. Yes, my penis.
And we just lost all our listeners and the listing on iTunes.
Yeah. Worth it. Okay, let's move on to our weekly community corner where we have one audio letter.
And it'll be our last letter ever.
It's a big one from Kimmis where he just talks about things and stuff.
Yep.
So here's Kimmis.
Greetings everybody, Kimmis here again. I wanted to try out something different this time and record a little bit of unscripted content. You're probably used to receiving this type of stuff recorded while driving, as far as I know, but because I neither have nor need a car and I don't really feel like recording with a laptop and a proper mic and radio stand while in a tram or bus, my room will have to do. The reason I am recording without any script is that it turns out I have no time to write anything. Normally, and probably you don't even know, that every 10 minutes of audio letter I send in requires 2 to 4 hours of me writing a script, then refining it again, recording once or twice, then editing. And this Wednesday, I've realized that my semester is ending. Which means that for next week, I have 4 projects due. Then within the 2 or 3 weeks, I have 4 different exams. One of which I have no idea what the subject is about. because our teacher decided it would be way more interesting if at the lectures, instead of actually teaching us something, she would have us do personality quizzes. Yeah, I'm serious. So after I'm done with that, and there is a lot to be done with, one of those things include me preparing a bunch of reports on the databases we were supposed to import, but because we have used a Dota 2 database, turns out we don't really have that much of data, and our teacher just told us to randomly generate some. So I'm sure it will be really fun to analyze, especially since we're supposed to look for patterns, etc. Yeah, good luck finding patterns in RNG. Then the other project that is kinda major is that for the past half a year we've been developing a mock application that is supposed to improve the process at our university of doing engineering and master's degrees. Because instead of actually improving this process, our university decided it would be much more fun to have us redesign it. Fortunately, I'm not the one that is mostly working on it. I have just done the design phase, the implementation is handled by another guy, and I just hope he doesn't fuck up again. So, if, and unfortunately that is a little bigger if that I'm used to, I pass all the grades, then I have most of my February free, and by free I mean I have to do internship. The same guy that tends to fuck up, well, for whatever reason, and I know the reason, I was just lazy, he got the job before me, and instead of me going through the whole application process, I just sent my CV directly to the firm and told them, hey, this guy sent me. Like, we cool? And I got a reply, yeah, we cool. Call you mid-January. And today is the 14th, so I'm guessing they will be calling me any minute. Which makes me really anxious, because, yeah, that's like, I will have to do actual work. That's weird. That will take me, I hope, just February and March, because we're supposed to do 160 hours. Usually that takes 3 months, but because we have February pretty much off, if I pass everything in first term, or just decide I don't have to go to the exams because I'm useless, then I can work full time in February and then have April off, which would be nice. And then there is another thing that, yeah, I will be starting 6th semester, which means I need to pick my engineering thesis topic and a supervisor, which again is something I have absolutely no fucking idea how it will look. Right now, all I know is that usually there are a couple hundred topics available, and I tend to have just dumb luck, so I'll take once those topics are published, because yesterday, I'm recording on Saturday, so that would be Friday the 13th was the deadline for submitting our own topics, but again, because I had no idea what an actual topic should look like, what it should cover, etc., I've decided to just skip it and hope for the best. So I'll have to look at those topics. Hopefully there will be a couple I am somewhat confident about, and there are also 9 or 10 teachers that throughout 2.5 years that have taught me something. So once I have a list of topics I'm confident about, I can just consider which of those teachers are closely related to any of those topics and tell them, hey, hello, can you be my supervisor? And if they say yes, I don't have anything to do for the next 6 months. And after that, fuck, I don't really want to think about it. This is a little weird because you're expected after doing 7 semesters of engineering just to go straight to masters. But because I'm studying in English, this is a little weirder. We are finishing 7th semester in January, and masters in English, instead of starting in March as any others, start in October. So I would have almost a full year off. So the current plan is that during this year off, I will just find a job, hopefully at IBM, because I'm interning at IBM. So I hope after I finish my internship, they'll propose me a job. And even if I don't pick it up immediately, next year, when I'm on the break, I can just tell him, hey, remember me? You told me I'm not useless. Can you hire me right now? And hopefully, and this is yet another big plan that will probably not work at all, after half a year or so, they will tell me, you know what? You're really awesome. You don't need to do any masters. Which means I don't need to go through another 2 years of needless education. But also means I will have to join the workforce, which is really scary. Adulting is hard, you know? Hopefully, because this is not the first time I've actually tried recording something unscripted, just talking to the mic, what I'm thinking right now, stream of thoughts, but mostly I've listened to it and either rewritten everything as a script and re-recorded it, or just scrapped it entirely. So if you are listening to my almost 10 minutes of rambling, that means I'm pretty satisfied with it. And that also means my standards have really fallen. Another reason I'm recording is my mic stand was actually just that, gathering dust. So can I look it up? Can I be bothered to look it up? When was the last time I recorded an audio letter? The last audio letter I've written was 15th of October. 3 months ago. It was about the guy that tried to scam me. And then I have another 2 email chains just when I was actually on the show. And I need to start thinking about recording the Game Club submission for FTL. Because finally, here's one of the games we're discussing is something I have any interest in playing. I just don't know whether I will have time to play it right now. This has been long enough as it is, me just procrastinating. I needed to take a rest or something before I go absolutely insane. Normally, if just I waste too much time on something, especially this thing doesn't work out at all, like it's been today. Usually, I would just leave the house and go for a walk, but it's way too cold and dark right now. Anything else interesting in my life right now that isn't as depressing as me getting old and having constant panic attacks because I don't know what to do? Oh, yeah, I've told you about it, but again, it's hard to convey what happened in 140 characters. I hate Twitter so much. And yeah, I'm saying it as somebody who tends to write 2,000 word scripts, going off tangent on a tangent on a tangent. Yeah, so I have joined a Brawlhalla clan. So the story is that I've noticed a post on Reddit saying new clan is recruiting, and they're based in EU. I've joined the Discord server. Then after we had enough people, we've all joined a game on Steam, played a bunch of matches, and hey, I was picked. Okay, our clan is a mentoring clan, meaning we have a bunch of diamonds, which is the highest rank in the game, and bunch of golds. The level where you can call yourself competent. You're not yet that good at the game, and yeah, I'm saying it as someone who has 220 hours in game. I'm not really all that good, but you kinda start to get what you're doing. So the whole point of the clan is we have diamonds, who pick gold as their mentorees, and we play a bunch of games together, try to get better by being provided a bunch of tips, And hopefully sometimes we'll get advanced to the mentor's position. And just to test where we're standing, we've decided to have a tournament. We have used the double elimination format, which means you are out of the tournament after losing 2 matches instead of 1, which is kind of the standard in the game, and it's much more interesting because you can have such an amazing comebacks. And even if you lose the first match, as was the case with me, you're still not out of the game. In fact, I have worked all my way through the losers. And in the losers finals, I almost won. And by almost, I mean in the tiebreaker, I killed myself twice with a bomb, which was a little embarrassing. But still, I placed 3rd out of 8 people, which is not awful. Especially not as awful as this one guy who just rage quit the clan entirely after losing a game. Okay, so I should probably start wrapping it up. I am embarrassed to admit that right now Audacity reads 21 minutes of me getting progressively more and more silent. Kmis, signing off.
Well, thank you, Chemist, for your life story. That sounds really bad. I don't mean it bad. Yeah. I'm glad that you're just talking to us.
No wonder he hasn't sent us a letter since October, which I didn't realize it was that long. I knew it was a long time. I just didn't realize it was October.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got busy with school and stuff, so I totally get that.
But plus, he's been on the show since then.
Yeah. Twice, I think. Was it twice or was it just once?
I'm not sure if it's been twice or not.
I think it was twice. I think we did one show with him, and then pretty soon after that, we did the awards show.
Yeah. But it was also really odd to have a rambling letter without someone walking or driving.
Yeah, that is very true. That's usually Ghost's department, although Kyle's done it a time or two as well.
Yeah, live from I-75.
I could walk to I-75 from here.
But it's a hell of a walk to Kyle from there.
Probably. So where do you want to start? You said you took some notes. I don't ever do that, but
very little ones. Well, let's jump right to the end of the letter first and talk about his Brawlhalla clan. It made me kind of miss my time with TF2 in my Highlander group. I know it's not quite the same thing. Mine was a competitive team going against other teams, but instead of a clan, fighting amongst themselves. But it's the same basic idea of having that core group that you're playing with. And it made me kind of miss that. And granted, we do have it with the stream nights, but not to the same idea where we're bouncing around games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't miss my clan days. I was in a Halo MLG group. I never went to any tournaments or anything for Halo, but that was frustrating because I was just good enough to make the cut, but I was one of the worst people on the team. So it was every time we practice, I just get shit on by you guys. And then I'd go play with my friends and they were like, wow, you're so good. And I'm like, yeah, not really. There's people way better than me. But
my team was an MLG team for TF2. And I would say I was about mid-tier. The frustrating part of it wasn't the play style or the player skill because they were really good. It's just, boy, this is going to sound terrible for me to say, but the discipline.
Yeah.
You'd have people just no-show for practice nights. Or the bad one was our sniper. Oh, he pissed me off to no degree. For, I would say, the first 3 or 4 games, every time he killed someone, he would do a taunt. And the taunt would last 5 or 6 seconds. So he kills someone, then takes himself out of the game for a while. Kills someone, takes himself out of the game for a while. And there's no way to interrupt the taunts, at least in Team Fortress 2. And you're also a sitting duck while you're doing that. So he got killed a few times and started yelling at us for not protecting him. And, I pointed out, you are off by yourself to begin with because that's your thing. That's your job. But also, you're making yourself, just standing there. And finally, you're kind of making it so if it gets challenged, it's going to go against us because one of the rules of MLG, at least the Team Fortress 2 version of it, was excessive taunting like that was considered poor sportsmanship.
Yeah, just like teabagging in Halo.
I mean, you do it a couple times, but also the TF2 also has taunt kills, which are exceptionally hard to pull off usually. And a high risk for very little reward, except for, let's see, the medic's taunt kill actually is probably the most worthwhile one to attempt, because it gives him an uber charge if he does it with the proper weapon. Which the uber charge allows you, depending on the medic's gun that he's using, to either give invincibility for 10 seconds or less, depending on the number of people he's giving it to. Give them critical hits. Give other people critical hits. Do a essentially super fast heal, which you have to pretty much instant kill someone to be able to get past. Or I'm trying to remember what the other medic gun does. I think it's damage resistance of a certain type, which allows you to sometimes get past just a bombardment of explosives, for example.
Yeah. I don't remember. You played Team Fortress 2 way more than I did.
Yeah, and it's been a long time for me.
Yeah. I also did some stuff with Gears of War, which I think I mentioned before on here too. We won a local tournament. My team did. I was way better at Gears than I was at Halo.
Yeah,
I was in the online leaderboards. I was in the top 100 at one point in the original Gears of War.
Sheesh.
I mean, I was probably higher than that because, the top 10 or so are always the people who figure out how to cheat. Yeah. And have, ridiculously impossible scores. But I played Gears of War a lot.
I played 3 seasons on that team. And we went to the final, or not the finals, but we went to the playoffs for 2 seasons. It was kind of funny when our first season. Well, the way the season works is that you have your preseason match. It gives you a time to get your feet wet. Then you have your season. Then you have the playoffs, and the playoffs are single elimination. And our first round of the playoffs was against the team that we played our preseason against for our first season. And we just barely got past the cut, by the way. Pretty much the way they set up the playoffs is that you had to have about a 60% or better win rate. And it was only 10 matches or so. So you lose 5, you're pretty much guaranteed to be out. Lose 4, you're on the bubble. Lose 3, you're pretty much in. And I believe we lost 4. Well, we came up against the team that we played in the preseason. And in the preseason game, we were completely unorganized. And, like I said, the sniper was busy taunting the entire time. Our soldier... for those who don't know, Highlander is you only have one of each class. There could be only one, which is where the name comes from. Our soldier was completely replaced by then, and we came up against them in the playoffs, and they were, we ended up being friends with them for a while. It just kind of drifted apart after, really our team broke up and we reformed, or I joined another one. That's what happened with a few of the members. We came up against them, and we were friendly enough, but, they were, kind of talking about how they were going to beat us. We wiped them out. We shut them out. And it was just glorious.
Nice. Well done. Getting off of this to other things that Kim has talked about. Good luck finding a job, dude.
And join the workforce.
Hopefully the IBM thing you mentioned works out.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool to work for one of the big tech companies. And I hope that your year off, I don't know, I was going to say I hope your year off doesn't keep you from going back to school, but if you like your job and you don't want to go back to school, then who am I to tell you to go back to school? So
yeah, which anytime I build some monstrosity in KSP now, I guess I'm going to have to send it to you so you could cry. I just have a good cry. Hey, look what I put on mine. You're like, why would you do this to me? But then again, isn't that what most of KSP is? Just making engineers and rocket scientists cry?
Something like that. It's interesting hearing that they encourage you to go get a master's degree in engineering. In the States, usually a bachelor's is good enough to do just about anything.
Yeah.
There's certainly fields you can't get into without a master's degree, but most people I know who went the engineering route only got a bachelor's degree, and they're making 6 figures a year now. Makes me wish I had done that sometimes. But there's more to life than money.
There is?
There is.
Well, I actually lived near at least used to be a really good technical college, and they had a good engineering program. So I've seen a lot of engineers around town. Kind of dropped off these last few years, though.
They're all working at Frank's and not Frank's.
Redesigning the pizza furnace.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about from his letter?
Well, I was kind of I made the note. Him trying to find patterns in RNG. It's sort of like game makers trying to find good game content in pure RNG. Because he was talking about his database project.
Right.
And it just kind of struck me how procedural generation or pure procedural generation, game makers are kind of relying on that and to essentially fill out content. I know not really related to the letter, but at the same time, it just made me think of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I had honestly forgotten about that until you said it, and then I went, oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at it this way. Kyle, the glue bottle's out, and I'm taking a swing at it. No Man's Sky.
Yeah. Oh.
A pure procedural generation just isn't a replacement for actual data and actual crafting. Indeed. So I definitely see Chemist's skepticism of finding what he needs for the system.
Excuse me. All right. Are you ready to move on to tweets?
Maybe we should edit in like a driving background for Chemist. Just so it makes sense for our podcast.
That's too much work for me. Maybe we should, but that's too much work for me.
Well, come on. It's just a audio file. And it's not like you already have a bunch of editing to do.
Yeah, it's too much work for me.
All right. Question of the week?
Indeed. Let's get there. Let's do it.
All right. The question of the week was, what's your opinion on remote gaming services like the now defunct Online or GeForce Now? And are they the future? Jim, no, lag and expensive pricing will always hobble them. Not to mention bandwidth caps and increasing monitor resolutions. Grieve comments on that, saying even at 1080p, you have to compress the image a lot. Chemist, you could leave your 3D or your third world country and just go to one with internet access as a constitutional right. Chemist, do you have a spare room? I mean, we could get Kyle to send us over in crates of jambalaya, right?
We could. I don't know if I want to do that, though. I think I'll take some uranium, though.
Sounds like Kyle's on board. Okay, getting online to buy plane tickets to flee to better internet, and the internet's crashed. Okay, Chemist also has, unless everyone has unlimited broadband internet with 10 milliseconds or less ping at all times, they are not. By the way, how do you enjoy 1 terabyte data caps? Wish I had a 1 terabyte data cap. Mine is 350 gigs, but I'm paying extra to get above that cap because pretty much I'd just hammer it.
Yeah.
And Groove chimes into that one. That plus probably more expensive long-term wise, which it is true. You're essentially paying into the service and renting the games. It's like, boy, this is going to date me. It's like going to Blockbuster and renting the same game over and over to beat it. By the time you beat a long, like, JRPG, you've already paid a lot more to Blockbuster than you would have if you just bought the game outright.
Yeah. I actually had that thought the other day. So you can rent games from Redbox. And
well,
I was thinking because you mean you have to have a Redbox, but
no. I have a Redbox within walking distance of me. I can't.
You don't have a console.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a console, you can rent games from Redbox. And I was thinking about maybe renting Final Fantasy 15 from Redbox when Katie goes in a couple of months to visit her family. I don't remember why it is she's going in March, but she's going in March. But then I was like, well, maybe
she's going to go watch basketball, right?
Yeah. But I thought maybe I should just buy it because by then it might be cheaper, and it's going to take me a while to beat Final Fantasy 15. It's like $3 a day. She's going to be gone for 10 days. So if I rented the game for the whole 10 days, that's $30. Like maybe, well, plus tax. So maybe I might be better off to just buy it.
That's see. Even assuming that they have it.
Yeah, that's true. They might not have it by then.
Because they may take it out of rotation, or it could just be out.
Yeah.
Because those red boxes don't keep a lot of each title.
No. But, I mean, I do live where there's, like, I don't know, 20 red boxes, so I would have a shot.
Yeah, I have access to one within walking distance.
Yeah, I really think there's, like, 15 or 20. I mean, I have to drive to them in Cleveland, but I'm in Cleveland every day, so it's not that far.
You have a hell commute if you're going to Ohio.
Yeah, every day I go to Cleveland, Ohio, and then come back. I have a teleporter, actually.
And you're not sharing?
No, I'm selfish. I'm a selfish bastard.
Well, we'll see who mourns you when your atoms get scattered across space.
At least then I won't have to worry about it anymore. Okay. What else do we have other than the question of the week?
Let's see. Let me make sure that's it for the question of the week. And it is. I just had got Kyle's tweet kind of jumbled up here, but we'll just jump directly to Kyle. He was the last tweet, and then we'll go from there. Kyle, shout out to Ghost Shark. Thanks for Rocket League. 'Twas an awesome time, and I'm ready to kick ass next league night. Oh boy.
Nice.
And Ghost Shark says, I only wish I had enough to include Mel's into the deal. But there'll always be another night.
Indeed.
Let's see, Andrew Mason, listening to the Board Game Podcast, and if you think straight, then you might want to check code 777, which I haven't actually listened to that yet. I think I've downloaded it. It's in my playlist. The problem is I download podcasts like once every 2 weeks, and I listen to them all. Chemist, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. I picked up Codenames Pictures yesterday, but haven't played it yet. Andrew, Codenames is a good game by my favorite designer, Chemist. I was looking for the Pictures edition as I only have the language independent games. Can't wait. Looks like Think Straight has some principles as Code 777, but is more streamlined. Andrew, Code 777 has some nice titles though, and I have no idea what they're talking about, by the way.
Me neither.
But I thought that I would put that in because there's not a lot of tweets otherwise this week. Chemist, Big Picture Mode is awesome. Shame it has so many bugs and glitches. Whoever came up with the gamepad keyboard deserves a Nobel Prize in design. And that's it.
All right. Well, and that means it's time to move on to our Steam.
I'm surprised I didn't trigger some sort of rant there.
Nah. I'm looking at the clock. That's why it's not triggering a rant. With that said, let's move on to our Steam Weekly Deals discussion. We each have 2, and you will go first, and we shall alternate.
All right, my first one is Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. I've done this one before. It is a very short but very, very powerful story about 2 brothers on a journey to save their father. Really unique control scheme. It essentially uses 2 halves of a controller. Do you think Nintendo saw this game as like, hey, wait a minute.
We could design an entire console around this concept.
Well, before the Switch, this was really the first time we've seen one controller control 2 different characters like this. We may see this on the Switch at some point.
Yeah.
But it's still a very, very touching story. And I will say that you can beat it in an afternoon pretty easily. It's only a few hours long. And I didn't write down my prices, so I have to go to the look at the price. It's usually $15, which I will say it feels a little expensive for the length of the game it is, and it doesn't have a lot of replayability, but it also is a very impactful game. So if you're looking for a big story, then yeah, this may be it. But it's also 80% off right now. Bring it down to $3. Pretty much a must buy. If you like your impactful story, or there's also the issue of this has no language in it. This it's all, think of it Simish, gestures and nonsense. So if that bugs you, then it may turn you off a bit. But it has some really unique puzzle design just because it's going around the fact that you're controlling 2 characters at once with the one controller. And it's a very neat concept. What?
Gestures and nonsense. That's basically my life.
And probably the title of the show now.
That actually is a really good show title.
And welcome to the Gestures and Nonsense podcast.
Okay. Well, my first recommendation is Valkyria Chronicles. I've already gushed about this game plenty twice now, and I probably will a couple more times. So, if it sounds like it's up your alley, buy it. It's $7 right now, a little less than $7, $6.79 specifically. But it's worth every penny. It's worth way more than that. I've already got several hours of enjoyment out of it, and I will get quite a few more.
Yeah, and this version also has all the DLC, so if you played it on console, on the PlayStation 3, I think it was, right?
Yeah, PS3.
I can't remember if it was PS3 or PS4, so I was asking there. Then this also includes all the DLC. So it does have the extra content there.
Yeah.
Okay, my second game is a very, very old title that was, I think it was remastered, a little bit at least. Impossible Creatures Steam Edition. Oh, I played this way, way back in the day. I don't have it on Steam. I wonder if I still have the physical copy around here somewhere. Anyway, Impossible Creatures is an RTS where you're creating all the units. And to do that, you're meshing 2 creatures together to make something different. And each creature has their own strengths and weaknesses. For example, lobsters, which tend to be like the favored unit to mix with a lot of things, have a lot of health and a lot of armor, but they're also very slow. Chimpanzees are quicker, but they're a ranged unit, so they impart a ranged attack. And by swapping out different body parts, and depending on the creature, you could swap out somewhere between 3 and I think the biggest one had 5 or 6 parts. You change the attributes and change the attacks of that unit. So you could have a completely unique unit to counteract something that your opponent's throwing at you. You could have, well, just look at the screenshots on the Steam store page. A tiger with a with a hammerhead shark head on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun, interesting concept that I don't know if it's been copied or if it's been done well.
I've never seen it even copied, let alone done well.
Because I've played it. I don't remember when I played it, but I know I've played it. Like, I have memories of playing it and like just making wacky creatures and stuff. So,
and it plays like the old Age of Empires almost.
Yeah,
it's think of it as Age of Empires, but you're building the army from scratch.
Yeah. So. That's a good choice. Good pick.
And I'm not sure what the player base is on this. Let me actually check on that really quick.
According to this, there are 28 active players with today's peak of 64, all-time peak of 277.
Okay, so the multiplayer scene is pretty much dead. There's a few people, but there's those are the diehards.
Right.
So do not go onto this for multiplayer unless you're playing with friends, which I would think this would be a great game to go play with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, do some crazy stuff.
Yeah. That may actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, well...
and I should say it is normally... Like I said, I didn't write down the prices. $9.99, so it's cheap anyway, but it's 75% off now. Bring it down to $2.49. I'm the cheaper this week.
Yep. So my other game is If My Heart Had Wings.
I wonder why you have this on here.
Well, astute listeners will know that it is on the Game Club list for February. And it currently, just barely, is in the lead. Regardless, even if it doesn't wind up winning and we don't play it for Game Club, what I've played of it is great, and I've only played the mobile version, which has a lot of content cut out.
Yeah, essentially, from what I understand, the mobile version is one storyline that's cut down. And visual novels like this are typically multiple storylines and with a branching path. The way I've always described a mobile game is think of it as a tree. You're starting at the trunk, at the base of the tree, and you're working way up, and for non-kinetic novels. So there's a kinetic novel, which is essentially just you're reading the story like a novel. But then If My Heart Has Wings is the type where it's a branching path. So eventually the main base of the game breaks off, and you're following one of the, in this case, girls, and having a story centered around your relationship with them.
Yep. But anyways, so it's a great game in its own right, and it does have a real shot at being the Game Club game for February. So
yeah, it's duking it out with Life is Strange, which actually surprises me.
Yeah.
I was expecting Life is Strange to just annihilate it, with maybe Katawa Shoujo coming in second just because it's a free-to-play game.
Well, I mean, Katawa Shoujo is pretty close, too. They're all really close.
It's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, it's, I think, 7 for If My Heart Had Wings, 5 for Life is Strange, and 4 for Katawa Shoujo, so it's still a pretty close race. Normally it's $15. It's on sale for $5, and it's definitely worth $5.
Yeah, and I will say that the Steam version is censored, but there is a content restoration patch that puts in both the boobies, but also puts in more storyline based around some of the stuff that they cut out. I don't know the specifics because that gets into spoilers, and I haven't read enough about it. I just know the general idea of what's going on with it. And it is a bit convoluted to put it back in, but it is doable. Usually
that's pretty easy. Usually it's just you copy paste the file.
Well, this isn't a developer-made one.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly it does 3 things. It restores the sex scenes. It restores some of the cut content, and also has a fan retranslation of some lines.
Okay.
Because supposedly a few of the lines were, I wouldn't say mistranslated, but translated in a way that were ambiguous, supposedly, so some people. Like I said, I don't know exactly if that's true or not. So, and I'm not going to go look into it because that starts to get into spoiler territory. And I just went and double-checked the current results of the Steam Game Club game, which you still have 2 weeks to vote on because we are playing FTL for the 31st, and that's when the polling closes. If My Heart Had Wings has 7 votes, Life is Strange has 5, and Katawa Shoujo has 4. It is still neck and neck.
Yep.
And it's very exciting that things are this close.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I hope If My Heart Had Wings wins, but Life is... I mean, all 3 of these games I want to play, but my personal favorite, or my personal pick would be If My Heart Had Wings, but I don't get to vote, so...
I played through Katawa Shoujo before, but I haven't voted it. I don't vote on these. So either Life is Strange or My Heart Has Wings is my choices on this. But Katawa Shoujo, I'd still replay because it's been a long time since I played it.
Yeah. Okay, well, those are our picks, which means that it is time for us to start wrapping up. And
finally.
Yeah. We're not going to make it to 2:30, but maybe by 2:45.
Sorry. I blame myself.
It's fine. I just might sleep through my supervision in the morning. I have to be there at 9. I'm more of an evening person. I do most of my stuff in the afternoons and the evenings.
I am the night.
But they moved around supervision, so now I have to go to supervision at 9 a.m.
If it's supervision and you sleep through it, are you still supervising?
I don't know. I mostly just sit there. I don't need very much direct supervision myself, and usually if I do, I go talk privately to one of the supervisors there. You
just go with the crayons and draw in the corner?
Usually I sit in there and play on my iPad. Get some good Galaxy of Heroes time during supervision.
I mean, I have crayons here if you need them.
I've got a Game of Thrones adult coloring book and colored pencils.
Now, when you say Game of Thrones adult coloring book, do you mean Game of Thrones adult coloring book as in more complex, or Game of Thrones adult coloring book as in adult coloring book? Because both works with Games of Thrones.
Yes.
Oh, it's both.
It's mostly just adult in terms of more complex, but I flipped through it and there's some saucy stuff in there. I got it for Christmas. But anyways, moving on to the things that are coming up for me this week. Honestly, I don't know. I didn't lose any of the projects that I've been working on. I managed to recover all that data off my drive. But everything got really hardcore interrupted over the weekend. Plus, there's some stuff going on, which a couple of you know about, Rage, going on in my personal life right now that might prevent me from getting anything done. So honestly, I'm just going to go with shrug my shoulders and hope for the best for this week. So, yeah. Shrugging my shoulders and hoping for the best. But if you want to see whatever that shoulder shrug is, you can do so on the YouTubes by searching for Gaming Psychologist. I've actually picked up a few subscribers over the holidays, and most of them seem to have stayed so far. So, thanks, guys. Glad that you are sticking around. I appreciate the support. But that is Gaming Psychologist on YouTube again. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where things are going to be very political today.
There you go, Jared.
That's cute, Rach. Thank you. He just sent me a shruggy man in Skype chat.
But, it completely derailed you.
Indeed. If you want to follow me on Twitch, or not on Twitch, on Twitter, it's your fault. Whether you can see me tweeting about all kinds of things. If you're listening to this on the day of release, they will be very political in nature. But, I tweet about all kinds of stuff. You can do that at JMA4707 on Twitter. Just follow me there. I picked up a few new Twitter followers, too. So, once again, thank you. If you want to watch me stream games on Twitch, or maybe even participate sometimes, you can do so over at twitch.tv/jarthur4707. I'm going to do a better job about posting tweets and things about them more. I think that helps. So, hopefully I'll see you there, or in our Discord channel, which we don't really ever mention, do we?
We don't, but it's always in the show notes.
Yeah, we do have a Discord channel. The link should be a permalink in the show notes. If, for some reason, it doesn't work, just send one of us a tweet or
yeah,
something.
And if they add you on Steam...
Yep, and you can add me on Steam. My Steam username is jarthur4707. I accept all Steam friends and hope that you guys are cool. I only made one new Steam friend over Christmas, but you know what? That's okay. That's one more friend to try and convince to come play games with us and join Discord.
And if you wish to let them know exactly what episode you're coming from, the password for this week is bombastic.
That's a good word. Not really. Well, I have to... I had to sneeze very bombastically.
And obviously you were allergic to that word.
That's a good word. Good word.
Yeah, and I was thinking Nintendo. That was my inspiration for that.
Nice.
Bombastic.
All right. Well, what about you, Rage? What are you doing this week?
Well, I'm in my steady pattern right now, where everything is kind of set up, except for really Divinity Original Sin, because, you know, that's the problem with collab stuff, is if you have a problem, it suddenly becomes my problem. But we did record some filler content, so we're going to have some Rocket League instead. And one of the episodes I'm actually competent in. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, you did good.
I don't know what happened. It's weird. I did well on one episode, then back to my usual kind of meh the rest of it. Oh, well, maybe it's the Toon Smoke. Maybe I had a little bit of that too much Toon Smoke. But beyond that, Valiant Hearts is still ongoing. I would say I'm probably about a quarter of the way through. It's a fairly short game. And I'm also getting copyright matches on it left and right. So, you know, that's not going to be paying for me in the long run. I'm not going to get that nickel from that series. Hey, at least it's not my Ghostbusters money. Which, still, I made more money on Ghostbusters than Sony did. Suck it.
Well done.
Oh, wait a minute. That's a sexist thing. I can't say that.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, I'm a terrible human being for not worshiping at the throne that is the female Ghostbusters. Because there was plenty of articles telling me that anyway.
Yeah, that really crappy movie.
Yeah. Why did they have to bring
it was bad because it was bad, not just because there were girls in it. But how many times are we going to beat that dead horse? We've beat that horse more than the No Man's Sky horse.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have. We definitely have.
No, it's nowhere near what we've done to No Man's Sky. Granted, I have made fun of making more money on than Sony has several times, but that's still funny to me. But let's see. And the Sunday Sampler finally got restarted. It's just, there wasn't anything interesting that came out the last several weeks. And going through my backlog was a chore, because it's just, the thing is, going through my stuff week by week, you know, I'm looking at maybe 6 titles at most now. And I could look at them and say, okay, that looks decent enough, and pick it out. But looking back through actually getting close to a year's worth of review titles and trying to pick out something that's worth my time, it's a little daunting. So I decided the Sunday Sampler already is the series that I'm more willing to skip a week. So I'll skip a couple and just do a little bit of an older game that I recently got a review copy of to kind of warm back up for the release, 2017 winter, which is always kind of throws me, because you think spring, summer, autumn, fall, or winter. But yeah, 2017 winter title releases. And of course, the podcast comes out on Fridays as well. And you can find all that over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage, or you can see me tweet with Gaming with CR. And you're being very quiet over there.
I'm just listening.
Well, I was a little worried that my connection dropped or something because you were being that quiet.
Or that I fell asleep.
Yeah.
No.
No. If you fell asleep, I would hear snoring.
You'd probably hear me bonk my head on the mic.
Hear a bonk, spring, fuck. Which is also the alternate title for this episode. Bonk, spring, fuck.
You can use that one for your YouTube channel if you want.
But Gaming with CR is my Twitter, and I'm going to try not to be political on that one because I have a feeling there's going to be enough of the shit going around. Let's put it this way. There was this thing come out. Yes, I know, I'm derailing. And Jared's like, oh, God, just let me go.
I'm just going to leave the call. You can send me your file when you're done.
There was a thing come out that Twitter's been going back and forth on banning Trump. And I kind of want to see them ban Trump just to see the shitstorm. But at the same time, I kind of don't want them to ban him because, it's an unfiltered thing coming directly from him.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be ammunition for 2020. So it's going to be glorious next week. And not for any of the good reasons.
The best reasons. We have the best reasons.
And they're going to be huge. So time to do the outro stuff?
Indeed. Take us out.
Here. Yeah, I'm actually lost it on. We have so many links here that's screwed up my thing here. Where is it actually? Am I just
take
going
your time.
past it?
I'll just take a nap.
Oh, okay, there it is. Sorry. There's so many links that it actually scrolled past. Okay, well, you can find our RSS feed in our new home, vglpodcast.podbean.com. And hopefully we're picking up the people that were stuck on the old RSS feed once iTunes and Google Play does their things.
Yep.
And I'm still going to throw a shout out to the Internet Archive for putting up with us. One last time. What do you think?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks to the Internet Archive for supporting us for a year. If you wish to contact us, you could do so at vglpodcast@gmail.com or for your emails, letters, voicemails. They do not have to be voicemails, by the way. You can send text. We will stumble through them. We will mispronounce your name. We will give you inadvertent nicknames because of it. Or your gaming-related topics, or just tweet us, VGL Podcast. Our Patreon is patreon.com/VGL Podcast if you wish to help support the podcast and throw us some money. Our website is the old link here. It's vglpodcast.podbean.com. Once again, the RSS feed is at the top if you're using that. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and you can find his work at Incompetech.com. And as Jared wakes up...
No, sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. Oh my. As always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Bye-bye now.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.